Ohio, you could say that's him. Alan Zhang, Mr. Midnight, giving out all the gems. If you see that treat on camera, you know he just nailed the winner. Project 365, always winning the most. These are the best of the best. Project 365 hosts. Project 365 live free, everyday proper count. Giveaways, trading the rate trades way. Project yeah. Project 365, trading live every day. Project 365, making money the rate trades way. We got Jake, Mitch, and Mr. Rate Trades, catching those level to levels. The mastermind, big brain, your main host with the most. Ripping the J's on stream, living the Puerto Rican dream. Got Mr. Mitch, Gamma, the freak with the Greeks. Professor in the lab, making all of the reads. Writing that prescription, boy, you better listen. Lomeli, power hour, using ICT, finding FVGs and scalping away, hitting TP, shouting cold RT, run G with the evening vibes, busting that oil. NYM, Mr. Ohio, you could say that's him. Alan Zhang, Mr. Midnight, giving out all the gems. If you see that treat on camera, you know he just nailed the winner. Project 365, always winning the most. These are the best of the best. Project 365 hosts. Project 365 live free, everyday proper count. Giveaways, trading the rate trades way. Project yeah. Project 365, trading live every day. Project 365, making money the rate trades way. We got Jake, Mitch, and Mr. Rate Trades, catching those level to levels. The mastermind, big brain, your main host with the most. Ripping the J's on stream, living the Puerto Rican dream. Got Mr. Mitch, Gamma, the freak with the Greeks. Professor in the lab, making all of the reads. Writing that prescription, boy, you better listen. Lomeli, power hour, using ICT, finding FVGs and scalping away, hitting TP, shouting cold RT, run G with the evening vibes, busting that oil. NYM, Mr. Ohio, you could say that's him. Alan Zhang, Mr. Midnight, giving out all the gems. If you see that treat on camera, you know he just nailed the winner. Project 365, always winning the most. These are the best of the best. Project 365 hosts. Project 365 live free, everyday proper count. Giveaways, trading the rate trades way. Project yeah. Project 365, trading live every day. Project 365, making money the rate trades way. We got Jake, Mitch, and Mr. Rate Trades, catching those level to levels. The mastermind, big brain, your main host with the most. Ripping the J's on stream, living the Puerto Rican dream. Got Mr. Mitch, Gamma, the freak with the Greeks. Professor in the lab, making all of the reads. Writing that prescription, boy, you better listen. Lomeli, power hour, using ICT, finding FVGs and scalping away, hitting TP, shouting cold RT, run G with the evening vibes, busting that oil. NYM, Mr. Ohio, you could say that's him. Alan Zhang, Mr. Midnight, giving out all the gems. If you see that treat on camera, you know he just nailed the winner. Project 365, always winning the most. These are the best of the best. Project 365 hosts. Project 365 live free, everyday proper count. Giveaways, trading the rate trades way. Project yeah. Project 365, trading live every day. Project 365, making money the rate trades way. We got Jake, Mitch, and Mr. Rate Trades, catching those level to levels. The mastermind, big brain, your main host with the most. Ripping the J's on stream, living the Puerto Rican dream. Got Mr. Mitch, Gamma, the freak with the Greeks. Professor in the lab, making all of the reads. Writing that prescription, boy, you better listen. Lomeli, power hour, using ICT, finding FVGs and scalping away, hitting TP, shouting cold RT, run G with the evening vibes, busting that oil. NYM, Mr. Ohio, you could say that's him. Alan Zhang, Mr. Midnight, giving out all the gems. If you see that treat on camera, you know he just nailed the winner. Project 365, always winning the most. These are the best of the best. Project 365 hosts. Project 365 live free, everyday proper count. trading the rate trades way.
What's up, everybody? What up, what up, what up? Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth. Bonus stream. All right. Hopefully everybody here is doing well. How's it going? Static, what's up? Yeah, I know. There's not a whole lot to trade here, guys, to be honest with you. I traded so much in the overnight that I, like... Yeah, my expectations are so low. But here we are, right? We are here anyway. Getting our little piece. I'm just trying a little scalp on a couple evals here. Seeing if we can't get a little rejection into the close going into the weekend. Maybe a little risk off. Not banking on much, but I know that we're definitely not breaking 75.70 without some juice, more than likely. So, that is me. Anyway, did anybody catch the overnight downside action? If you're in the chat. Yeah, I actually shorted NQ and ES, and then I kind of want to cover that with everybody and just we'll kind of go over that. But this that you see here was kind of my long idea based on this profile that we had. And even though it was very thin positionally, I was looking at that going, all right, if we're going to pause somewhere, this was likely to be it. This little range right here. So I was watching this kind of consolidation at that spot going, all right, if the Nikkei bounces, I bet NQ and ES will bounce as well. So if we actually go and look at how that shaped up, and you look at NQ, this is where I took a couple scalps short last night. Caught this long, I averaged into it, and then my last runner on averaging in gave me this average here, and I ended up just taking an out as 35.90. And obviously we, continued to go from there, but this was literally me trading until 3 in the morning, my time. Did not need to do that. I did not think I was going to do it, but I started watching that ES consolidation, and then I also looked at the Nikkei, which is pretty much the whole reason we sold off in NQ and ES, on the back of kind of some potential yen intervention headlines, and that definitely caused some serious weakness in Japan, which the correlation with US equities means that something that happens in Japan is going to definitely influence us. So why not go live? Am I not live? Am I not streaming? Maybe I'm misunderstanding your question, Static. You're going to have to tell me what's up. Why not go live? More details, please. More data. Give me more data. But yeah, guys, that was kind of the driver for me when you look at where Nikkei was going to bounce. I think if you guys were on Alan's stream... Well, Alan was streaming, brother. But I actually did kind of give him a heads up about like why there was that potential weakness. I sent him a big old blurb, but I don't think he could share it because it was too long in the chat window. But pretty much broke down like what I was looking for. So the thing that I was looking for is, I'll actually share this with you guys. Maybe you guys can see it here. This was my kind of blurb to him. Let's see if we can put it on the screen. Oh, wow. So this last little line here, I'll be looking for how much those two markets, the Korean market and the Japanese market, continue to sell into the latter half of their session, or if they stabilize, which could lead to a bit of a relief bounce in NQ and ES as a result. So I was watching very closely. And if you look at what happened with those particular names, like the Nikkei, it was down here. This is also the same time we were consolidating on ES and NQ, right? And what happened? Up we went. I am trading MES right now. I am just trading some evals rod 1. But what we're going over right now is kind of the last night action and what I traded, but I just wanted the rationale for you guys. When you see kind of the profile that I had for the dealer positioning being so thin, I played these initial rejections, right? And then I was looking for this kind of a move. So then I started trading NQ with it because of the weakness in Japan. And then I was looking for a consolidation and a bounce. And because it happened across all those things, oops. Oh shit, I got myself mixed up. Let's do this. These are the trades that I took on NQ last night, or a couple of them anyway. I was catching this initial kind of scalpy short, but I definitely sized bigger and averaged into the bounce, thinking we'd get kind of a short squeeze of a kind. So I think it worked out. And then I posted in the Discord kind of my last runner that I was in here. Caught a nice 70 point kind of runner win there and just said, I'm tired, I gotta go to bed. But you can see my upper target was here around this 3600 area on NQ, and I ended up just taking the profit just below that. But yeah, right now I am sitting in this MES short, and if you guys want to know the rationale there, it is basically going off the fact that it doesn't look like we're going to break 70. So I just put my stop above that. I already took a couple trims. I was in 30 micros. I'm copy trading across a couple evals here. So all I'm looking for is maybe kind of a late day, close to end of session sell here in the next 45 minutes back down. What is MES? It's just micros for ES instead of full minis, if that makes sense to you. If you are unfamiliar with that, you know, it's basically like M and Q, but for ES. But yeah. Anyway, guys, that it was a very fun night of trading. Made some really good money last night. So today was kind of risk off. I want to protect those profits and look at what we're going to get next week. So hopefully you guys can see on my screen kind of what I've got going right now with MES. Again, I'm not looking for a lot. I took a few more of the Lucid Flex accounts to have in the back pocket, and those have a 50% consistency to pass. So have to do it in 2 days, and looking to see if we can get a little dropperoo here, catch a little 15-point drop into the close off this rejection, kind of similar to last night's action. So we'll see if we get it. What is something I still use from Jake's system? I will still watch for the multi-time frame and just kind of see how things are shaping up. And then what I'm looking for is, does it dovetail with anything that I see on the market maker positioning side? So you guys like levels, right? If you actually look at the dealer positioning from last night, and let's go to ES really quickly, if you guys don't mind. Okay, these were my notes from last night. We'll see if we can do this. So you guys know what NQ is doing, right? So these were my notes last night. Last night coming in, we had an 80-point straddle, basically saying the market thinks that we can move in an 80-point range from the Globex Open, which we ended up capturing for the most part, right? Like we got pretty dang close. But what I was looking for were these little ranges to trade in. I was looking for rejections in this area. Okay, so if you're looking at rake levels, right, you had a little confluence there. But the biggest thing to me was like this 75.70 on ES. What's up, SC? I'm just answering Cole's question here as best I can. But what I'm looking for is like trend analysis, right? This is the 2 minute, but if I was looking at multi-time frame, you could see that like we had the potential to break under this kind of consolidation, right? We were in this range. Do we kind of continue that couple day downtrend? And that's what I was looking for. But as far as like the specifics of rake system that I use, a lot of it's just price action. Like when I see price coming into these areas on the dealer profile, I'm looking for, you know, kind of those failure to go highers and lowers, you know, just to kind of reaffirm, am I seeing the behavior I would expect to see here? So if I think we're coming into a support area, am I seeing the 2 and 5 minute failure to go lowers? Is that what I'm going to use for my trigger? Excuse me. Woo. You know, to take a long, how does that, you know, align with my stop loss on the profile? So I'll still look at those things, but I don't think that trading Jake's system and what I do are, you know, mutually exclusive or anything like that. But even for me now, like I'm trading an eval, I'm willing to take a stab that like we can at least come back down and get that, you know, little 15-point drop to pass this, or, you know, get half of this eval done on the consistency rule. And that's more on the dealer profile than anything else. But I think if you look at how it sets up, right, like look at the area that we bounced from last night. This is, I mean, is it small? Yes. But given the thin nature of the profile, this is kind of the do or die area before we potentially headed down. Jesus. Way lower, right? So what I would have been targeting was kind of Wednesday's low here, which is also kind of like a big decision point in the market. But it looks like if you look at the overnight action, we were not really able to hold this, which is kind of the dividing line between higher and lower. So if you look at the overnight open, we immediately sold under that. And what did we reject? If I drew a line, right? What did we reject before we headed lower? I don't know. Hard to argue with results, guys. Where did we hold and bounce? We never even came fully into the bottom of this range. And if I was looking for reversals, which is why I was looking at this spot on NQ, right? If I look at that and we zoom in there, if you want to see, oh, how can you use rake system in that moment? I see a big old failure to go lower. I can have pretty tight risk, all things considered. I think it was a 20-point stop or something like that. But there are opportunities abound. But I was going off of this structure over here with the dealer profile on ES to inform my decision making on NQ. But even if you were just using Rake's entry and exit system, right? How he manages risk, looking for a failure to go lower, and looking for a reversal, right? What happened? If we go to a higher time frame, let's look at like a 5 minute or something, right? Probably a stronger case for that failure to go lower. Failure to go lower. We beat the previous lower high and set a potential higher low, right? Up we go. Previous lower high, higher low, and up we went, right? So regardless of what it is you're looking for, there you go, Cole. Failure to go lower in a buy setup. And I also had the confluence of knowing that if I was trading this like a cash session, this is where I would expect a very hopeful kind of pause. And we got it. We got it there. We got it on NQ. And again, the thing that caused the sell-off, Japan. If Japan got any kind of a bounce, ES and NQ are going to get a bounce. You get into the London Open, London were buyers, up we went, right? So this stuff isn't rocket science, guys. Wait for your spot, wait for your setup, execute. Bang, bang. A lot of money to be made last night. For my original entry on NQ here, like I said, I averaged up on the way in. This was on the way up. This was my last runner. This was my entry kind of to risk on that runner, just to say this is all I want to give up. I was in profit regardless, right? But my average here, I was willing to sacrifice another 20 points for a potential 70 where I thought things might get a little dicey. And we rejected there and ended up continuing on, obviously, but guys got to sleep, you know? That was a long day. So even today, I only got like 4 hours of sleep or less. But here we are. Now, if you're looking at the current trade that I'm in, let's just focus on that for a minute. The whole thesis here was just, let's see if I can pass an eval, because I don't know that they're going to prove that it can get over this spot. So I'm willing to risk this, see if I can just get a quick pop down, maybe to this area from earlier this morning on a little bit of who's really carrying futures risk into the weekend, right? Cole, no, I don't. There's not really a correlation with market makers and NQ the way that some people like to say there is. When you look at the asset, like the equivalent of SPX, it's called NDX. It is far, 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 far less liquid than SPX to ES is. And because of how SPX is weighted as an index with the same names that carry the most weight in the NQ and in the NDX, it makes more sense to actually look at SPX and ES structurally from a gamma standpoint than anything that you can correlate between QQQ and NDX with NQ. So that's why, I mean, I feel like I don't need to explain it anymore, but I think if you looked at this and you said, Mitch, based on where you were watching ES last night and that structure and where it lines up with NQ, hello, right? Correlation does not equal causation and all that, but really hard to argue with, hey, the structure on ES can kind of inform responses when things are moving together, right? NQ can always have outsized reactions, right? Because NQ is just more volatile by default. It moves more points. It's harder to equate something in NQ to like a tight 10-point range on ES, right? But that's why I was trading NQ last night. I knew that if I got a move in ES of X amount of points, I'm likely to see a response in NQ of a couple hundred points. So why not try to catch that, right? My risk was defined. It was just really simple to say, things are volatile overnight. I'm going to trade a couple NQ, maybe 3, and I'm going to average in on the way up if this continues and just keep trading the trend, right? Average into strength. Know your targets. And like I said, I just took this last one. So I caught it from here. 420, technically all the way up to 600. About a couple hundred points on pretty tight risk and just kept riding the trend and just managed it well. And I didn't take it on the way up on ES, but I did catch ES on the way down, as well as NQ on the way down in smaller size, but I held this for like the big kind of short squeeze type move. So struggle to see setups live. Looking back, there are so many. I mean, hindsight's 2020 for a reason, man. Fendi James, 50 to 100 NQ points up. Take profit, have near 0 day on this non-settlement day. Have near 0 day on this non-settlement day. I guess I don't really know what that means. So you're up 50 to 100 NQ points? Did you mean have near 0 drawdown? I guess I don't know what you're saying. But regardless, if you're long, good for you. Like I said, guys, I'm willing to risk this. It's just a couple evals. I'm not worried about this trade at all. I just don't have confidence they're really going to break above. If I lose 500, 800 bucks, whatever, no big deal. Anybody watching the World Cup today? Getting ready for that USA game this afternoon? That's what I am planning to do with my day. I don't know about y'all. That's me. See what we get. I am kind of not expecting much, but we'll see what we get out of that game. Today doesn't count as a trading day, so usually between open and close price, the change is minimal. I mean, yeah, man. That is kind of a no-brainer. Like I said, last night, most of that action came off the back of some kind of headline risk, particular to the dollar and the yen. Czar Trader. I love rugby, man. I'm a former rugger myself, so I get it. But you can like both. Gonna be hammered by 3. Hey, get it while you can, while the getting's good. Would you say I should take more setups on the 5 to 15 minute chart? That's entirely up to you, Cole. You know, like, depending on how you want to define your risk. I mean, what you can do is you can look for the trend on the 15 minute, right? And say, here's what I'm looking for a setup. And obviously today is a little messy, right? Like, we're pretty wiki. But even here on this like 15 minute, that's it's like 8 points of risk. If you want to take that as your buy setup and just look for these ranges, right? You can do things like that. Like the 15 minute on ES last night was far less clean, right? You didn't have a real strong failure to go lower necessarily. You just had this straight ripper bar. But if you're looking for that potential move, then you hone in on like the 2 minute, the 5 minute and say, okay, what inside of that am I looking for to express that 15 minute working the way that I think it should, right? Or where am I looking? Here, right? If you're seeing consolidation and on the 15 minute, you're seeing that failure to go lower setting up, then you can look for that tighter entry on a 2 minute, on a 5 minute. It's a whole rationale around multi-time frame analysis, right? I'm in longs when we break this high if it's not a failure. All right, man. Hope you get it. Today counts as a separate trading day for most. Yeah, it is technically a unique day. So it's not yesterday's cash session. It is technically a different session. So yeah. And again, guys, I'm not looking for a home run on this trade. I'm just looking to capture something for some evals. But I don't know that we're materially going to bust over 75.70 on ES into the long weekend. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. 30 minutes to find out. We're doing a lot of consolidating. I am just not convinced at all that we're going to like just break up and away, especially off the back of that kind of overnight move. So that's what I'm waiting for, TradeWap. I will be watching that game. My wife is a Mexico fan, so she had her moment in the sun last night, even though they got super fortunate with their goal, which you just hate to see. I mean, it's a World Cup, so no one's going to judge, right? No one's going to say, oh, that goal doesn't count because it was a shit goal. Hey, they all matter in the group stage, right? Can't advance without scoring, so take it where you can get it. But you got to feel for the Korean keeper in that situation. Quite unfortunate. Is what it is. Anyway, guys, 1 second. I got to take a phone call here. Sorry for the pause. Just 1 minute. Can't snub the mom, guys. Never snub the mom, even for the stream. Love all you guys, but never snub mom. I hope Portugal wins. My country didn't qualify. What's your country, Cole? Yeah, and I will say, guys, like the potential for like a move higher, you know, NQ probably has a little more room. I don't know that we materially break out on ES, but you're doing a lot of consolidation under a resistance, which generally speaking is a bullish sign. But I also think you could continue to chop in this 10-point range for the next 30 minutes and go absolutely nowhere. So yeah, TradeWap, I literally have just been sitting in this. I'm not like, was I a little impatient to let it get to 75.70 specifically? Sure. But like, like I said, it's an eval. I'm not really too fussed about this. I secured my payouts for the day. I got one from Tradeify. I got another one from Lucid. So I figured let's have some fun. Let's trade a little eval and see if we get a little rejection. Cole, what country? I'm trying to think of who didn't qualify. If you say Italy, man, talk about embarrassing. How do you go from being a country like Italy in world soccer to just sucking? And I like a lot of their players too. I love Calafiori. But, yeah. I don't think anybody wants to see Portugal win, to be honest with you. Ronaldo is so toxic as a symbol of world soccer now, like a guy who can't let go because he's desperate to, but that's just me. I appreciate Ronaldo too, right? Like, don't get me wrong. Ronaldo as a player, as a goal scorer, as a physical specimen, great, but oh man, I don't know. I'm sick of the guy. I think he just needs to ride off in the sunset. Watching him stink it up and miss clear chances that Messi would put away in his sleep is not doing him any favors. And you just know he's desperate, right? Like, Ronaldo is just completely desperate for this to work. So the sooner he kind of just fades into the background a little bit and plays for the team instead of trying to make everything go through him, the better it'll be. Pretty sure even a guy from his team, I'm trying to remember which midfielder, said the same thing. Pretty much was like, oh, Ronaldo's just another player for Portugal. Which took some balls. Good on him, but writing's on the wall, man. Ooh, your Dutch trade wop. I have mixed feelings about the Dutch. I love me some Timber, but Timber Brothers, I should say. But Robin van Persie did me dirty as an Arsenal fan, so he can do one. Still salty. Don't care. I'll admit it. My favorite thing about Dutch people is that they are blunt. There is no sugarcoating anything. So maybe you're like that too, TradeWatt. But all my experience with actual Dutch people is is that they have no filter and will say it like it is. Yeah, Usman. Market closes in about 30 minutes here, so expectations again very low. My hope was that we'd get kind of a little last second dumper by about 15 to 20 points for my evals here. If I was a little more patient, I could have waited for a formal tap of 75.70, but I'm not like risking the moon on these evals, so no big deal. But yeah, slow day. I think we've just been chopping around in a pretty tight range since we got a little kind of news candle right into what would have been closer to the open, as you can see on this big pop. And then we've just consolidated and done nothing. If this were a cash session, guys, again, I would probably be taking the same trade. I literally would be watching for proof that it can get over and hold this strike on ES, and until it does, I'm shorting. I have zero conviction that there is conviction in the market we rip higher. To me, I am looking at, I'm gonna get off NQ for a second, guys, so if you're NQ junkies, sorry, but what I want to talk to, I'm gonna get rid of the rake levels here because it's distracting. Is this idea that I think between Wednesday's low and last week Thursday's low, there's clearly some like assumptions of what you could say liquidity, right? And I just kind of wonder if there's not a little bit of like the market needs some further proof that there's stability under there. So I'm kind of looking for anything in this range. God, my computer is slowing up. That is wild. Give me a second here, guys. Ugh. What is happening? Too many things open, perhaps. Anyway. Yeah. That's what I was kind of looking for was, yes, we got a bit of that move last night, but if that would have happened in a cash session, I can tell you I wouldn't have had as much confidence in those positions. I would have been super horned up for going lower. I think you can even see in my kind of Globex plan for last night what happens in London. The biggest support strike was technically another 100 points lower than where we were at the time. So, you know, I think we could have tested a little bit lower, but 7,500 would have been kind of my next spot to watch just based on the expected move in the overnight. We obviously got our bounce off this kind of tiny balance area. But again, for me on ES or MES, I was hoping we would just get some kind of a retracement back kind of into this area so I could pass this eval, right? Just come test back into this area. But what I will be watching for on Monday, because these are Monday's positions, is what do we do in the overnight? There is a chance, obviously, that we can kind of get back up into the 7,600 area, but to me, this just looks like there's some people placing some bets down here, both directions. There's people buying puts down here. There's people taking longs down here, or selling volatility would be the idea. Like when you see these big dealer long bars way below spot, Those are people like you and me who are essentially saying, I'm going to sell puts to some suckers because there's no way we get down here. So when you see sizes like that down there, it just makes me wonder if the market isn't kind of hinting at, we don't really believe in anything else in this area, right? So doesn't the position close when the market closes for the weekend? Yeah, it's going to close me. It's going to auto liquidate me based on time being up on the day. But I'm not worried about it. Like I said, it's just evals. But as far as trade structure goes, I hope you guys understand that if I were looking at this like this was, I'm going into the market on Monday morning, I would have been trading the same idea. Prove it to me that you can get over 75.70 and keep it there, right? Otherwise, I'm looking down. I'm looking for where is the market betting on something below. And the fact it is so thin between here means that if this would have been a cash session, that little 70-point move on ES could have been way closer to what we saw the other day, like this on FOMC day. So that is what I am looking for. Yeah, guys, I'm not worried about it. If we get to like a minute to go and we are not materially moving, I will just exit the trade. They're evals. Like, I know it's different for everybody and I shouldn't be so cavalier, but it's a couple $100, it's like an options trade that didn't hit. So just evals, no big deal. Yeah, I mean, these positions could change, right? Sunday night into Monday, there could be some shifting of these positions, but this is like a materially thin profile going into Monday next week. After OPEX rolled off, we have some really sensitive VIX positioning. Like I said, if that move happened in the overnight going into today, I would have expected to see a lot more potential for continued downside. But the same case could be made. If they hold over this strike here, there's really not anything. If the market has some belief in a strong bid, some of the existing volatility that's still kind of sitting out there shows up, you obviously had room to move to test, the same 60 points higher, 50 points higher. So that is still a potential going into Monday. But I am just not personally too fussed with it. So you guys, if you're new here, that's one thing I can tell you guys. This is generally what I trade. I'll trade price action, don't get me wrong, but like the vast majority of what I am looking at is how are we reacting, and is it behaving the way you would expect it to at these kind of key levels or strikes on SPX that market makers are hedging. So I trade ES or NQ around that. So if you guys are just joining, we'll cover it one last time because it's far more interesting to talk about than what's happening right now. Is the trades I took on NQ last night based off of this same kind of rationale of the positioning over here. This little supportive block is where I would have been looking for potential consolidation to maybe reverse. If I saw Japan start reversing, I definitely would have expected a potential short squeeze type move on a recovery into London. So I took the long on NQ here after I caught a couple different shorts on NQ and ES on the way down. The most profitable trade for me and a single trade was this long because I averaged into it. And my last trade on it was basically my runner from averaging up. And that got me the last 70 points. And then I went to bed. But as far as how I trade, the same reason that I shorted last night on ES, I will pop over to that on this screen instead of NQ. The logic was here. Globex open was slightly over this key strike. I was watching for rejections of it from underneath into the Asia open, which is where I started shorting ES and NQ on the way down. I was looking for this kind of a rejection. I was targeting this little area that you see here. The same thing on ES. It's not like it's different, right? If we consolidated in here, this was kind of like last ditch spot, then I would have been looking here. This would have accelerated us. So could we have gotten down here? So if you look at my notes on ES specifically last night, I had this blurb about what happens in the London session. The next biggest kind of support strike was 100 points lower than where we were at that moment. So scalped it on the way down, thought the move back up could be kind of that ripper type move, caught it on NQ. So a lot of people ask me, how do you trade ES? Why don't you trade NQ? I do trade NQ. If you guys want proof, go look in the Discord. I literally posted the screenshots of the actual entries and the points that I captured and everything last night. So like, you can do both. The influence of this is always felt on the other side. It might not be a direct correlation, right? Just because of the way that NQ and ES are different from a points structure. NQ is just inherently more rangy and volatile than ES, but ES drives the market. Nobody can tell you differently, right? All of the weighting of NQ is technically in the index and SPX. The NDX correlation with NQ, that index is held in SPX, and thus ES, and so on. If you guys don't know that, you probably shouldn't be trading those indexes, right? So I think we all know. Anyway, it's a lot of me talking. Show me the indicators you're applying on your chart, please. Indicator not for sale, number one. Just take a screenshot of it and send it to Claude and say, show me market maker positionings if I give you the net positions by strike. Negative on the left, positive on the right. I bet Claude will do it in 2 tries maximum. But you have to get that information from somewhere. Okay. So I personally use VS3D is the name of the platform. There are others out there as well. Some have different costs associations. Some are cheaper. You've got options depth. You've got quanted options, spot gamma, voland. Hey, Sean, they both move though, right? If I trade 2 minis on ES and catch 10 points, what is that in NQ? That's why I will also trade NQ at times, right? If I risk 1 mini, but I catch 100 points on NQ, that's a, what, like a 15 or 10 point move on ES, maybe 20, right? I trade the structure on ES, I'll trade the confluence in NQ. So if I want to double up, that's how I'll do it. The other thing that happens is I think you guys, we'll see, what day was it? I mentioned it. I didn't end up taking it on NQ like I normally would, but oftentimes what I'll do is if I'm already short, I don't remember what day it was this week, guys. You'll have to go back and watch the streams, but what I'll do is if I'm already short on ES, but I'm getting to a spot that if I wasn't short, I would be longing it, then I'll go take a long on NQ or like 5 MNQ to be able to catch that, right? To say, this is how I would trade this if I wasn't in ES, if I'm still respecting the structure. So there was actually quite a few times, I don't think it was actually last week, as we kind of came into some of these lows like this. Yeah, here's a great example, last Friday, where coming down in here, if I was holding a short, and I see that this is supported on the profile, right? I would be looking for that ramp move higher, for example. Did I just get stopped out? Ah, look at that. Yep. Auto liquidate. Well, got stopped out 15 minutes. So futures must actually stop before noon formally. So we'll see kind of how this moves here in this last little bit. That's funny. Oh well. It wasn't the max loss, right? So I guess there's that. I guess we got lucky on that front. Let me double check my trade evade and just make sure that it actually did close. Otherwise that would be a nasty little surprise, wouldn't it? What's really funny is what happened to Jake that he mentioned about leaving that like phantom order open that he forgot to cancel out of yesterday. That has happened to me because I've used Tradevate Mobile and it's just the absolute worst. Rejected because... Yep. not allowed. So I cannot place the order. So clearly Tradeovate or Lucid, whatever the rules are for a day like today, not allowing any more trades on props. If we end up selling off in the last 15 minutes of the day, I will be so salty. Is SPX even trading today? No. That's why futures is the only thing tradable, and it's only tradable until, I guess 11:45 or the next 15 minutes for approved parties. But evidently Lucid said 11:45 is it for you on this short day. Which, like I said, if in the next 10 to 15 minutes we sell down to my target, I'll be a little salty about it, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. But risking basically 2 minis for a 5-point stop is not the worst thing in the world, I guess. I'll probably be saying thank you if it breaks out over 75.70 somehow into the last 15 minutes. But yeah, I will say though, always be careful. I know Jake mentioned it on his stream this morning. Always hit that exit at market and cancel button on Tradeovate, because on the phone, I'll see if I can pull it up so you guys see what I'm talking about. It is the least user-friendly mobile trading experience I've ever had. I think at this point, even with how delayed it can be on TradingView, I would rather trade on TradingView mobile than ever trade on the Tradeovate mobile app for iPhone. It is god awful as far as like navigating an open order and chart. There's so many times where it's gotten me where I had something, and if it's not in the immediate like visible area, yeah, I'm gonna show you guys this. Maybe you can see it. It is such dog water, right? Yeah, so this is like a 10-point range, and just the charting on mobile, like, can you see that? That is legitimately the worst interface ever. So what'll happen is there'll be like an order, like a take profit order somewhere way up there, and you forget about it, you get out of your trade, and literally it gets triggered later, but you couldn't see it. So that, yeah, cancel all and exit. Like, I cannot advocate for that enough. If this sells like I thought it would into the close, I will be so salty, dude. If this goes to like 75.50 or lower, I'm going to be super fucking annoyed, guys. So gamma bars are options on futures or different day SPX. It is the next trading days from today. So this is looking at Monday's SPX positioning. Futures are traded against those positions. That's why it's relevant. That's why it is so tightly correlated. That's why every little person I see trading order flow says like gamma is the most important thing, because it shows you the where and order flow tells you the when. But I'm not down with that. I don't need order flow specifically. I've been working with the student who told me to start using this so I can understand their order flow execution. And it's like supposed to be telling you the delta between buy versus sell. I don't know how that was useful in this whole time period, right? Like, it's mimicking price action. It's not giving me some kind of a signal about absorption or anything like that, right? So I don't know. I don't tend to lean that way. If it works for you, great. But like, I think the positions and the expected behaviors are more than enough. But if you don't think that that works, like, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, last night, the rejection of that key spot to send us lower, the consolidation in this little supportive area. Why can't we break above something today? I think there's some significance to it, guys. I'm not saying it's the only way, but it's definitely the most hard data-driven approach that I've come across, right? If you pay for the data and you know how to interpret it, it is incredibly powerful stuff. If you layer it as confluence to what you're already doing, very powerful stuff. I do think like there are certain days, the rake levels are powerful, right? But if you look at like The fact we don't have a level here, but like we are rejecting this, but we are technically holding this one, right? Like there is some confluence on certain days that is stronger than others. So I do think that like knowing where the confluence is, where the risk is a huge edge to people. If you really have a hard time understanding too, like we haven't even gotten into gamma specifically, right? The idea of what kind of a behavioral expectation would the market tell you is looming out there to say, like, should we expect a tighter range? Do we have a smaller range to be expected on the day, or a big one? Do we have room to trend? Those markets generally are directly correlated to positioning and kind of what people are going to be expecting, where they're placing their bets in the market, or not. So if you guys, like if you're wondering why I was shorting, even though I said, oh, there's all this range to the upside, is the biggest bets that are out there are way the hell down here, which tells me there's an expectation of getting there. You've got just as many people saying, I think we sell down here, as you do people saying, if we do, we're not going any further, which tells me this whole range under Wednesday's low and where we are right now, this is like prime trading potential, right? What's the other thing okay, same student who talks about CVD talked about volume. So this is just so much extra shit on my screen and I really don't like it. So we're just going to go back to, just ES. Now it's not showing up, of course. Too many indicators. Anyway, his, we'll get rid of mine for a second, right? So his whole thing is like, this is where the control is, and this is the value high and value low. Sometimes there's confluence, right? But like, I bet if you went back in time and you said like, my lines that I drew here for like Wednesday's low and the previous Thursday's low, like this is like a prime zone. Volume doesn't even necessarily show me anything. So like positionally speaking, there is some confluence there that I think is important to note. But yeah, couldn't tune into your stream. I'll rewatch the old ones over the weekend. Yeah, I think there's a lot of value there. Even if you guys go back to like Jake and I's very, very first stream together, like I always go back to that one because it was my first one. But on that day, we literally called like the gates, right? What gate do you have to walk through, and where is the next gate that you can get to and potentially move through? We called the absolute literal top at a new all-time high to the tick. We ended there on the day, and every spot that we paused, this was at like when I was still doing pre-market, this was at like 5:30 in the morning. This was 3 hours before the market opened. We had a very specific plan and an expectation for, if we get here, this is what I would need to see to think that we can get here, right? Stream one of Jake and I. So if you look at the pre-market Mitch and Jake, it was like the very first stream I ever did with Jake. So you can see it there. Go watch that one back. There are so many nuggets in there about like how I trade. I think it was trying to explain to Jake the specifics of what I do. And we both kind of had the same thesis, right? Like Jake said, I think we can go up. I think we're just like destined to go up. I was a little more specific of being able to say, this is where I think we can go. Called the shot, got there, right? And then there was also a plan for like where we would go if we did not. So being able to have that leverage and say, this is where I think we go, where we don't, is where I feel like using this data is just like every single day I post a pre-market plan. I post, during the stream an intraday update. The same thing is coming true. Guys, that one is super annoying. Where did we sell? 75.58. So we're pretty much back at break even. If it drops from here down to like my target, that will be annoying. Trade WAP. I remember the stream. Couldn't tune in when you moved to after Jake's session. You'll try to. Yeah, I know it's hard. I know, like, even for me personally, I do think there's a lot of value in having this positioning data in the pre-market. But that is kind of the thing about it is I don't miss having to get up that early. But that's also why I post the pre-market plan in the Discord the night before. And if there's some kind of big material change, then I'll update it ahead of the market open, right? But for the most part, I think the most value that I provide is with the pre-market plan, to be able to give you kind of the big structure coming into the day, to say these are the key strikes, this is what behavior you should be looking for, this is how I'm going to play it, all those things. I do think that's really powerful from the pre-market. So if you want that, obviously I drop it a little closer to the market open on Instagram and on YouTube. I just published that same video to both places. There's just a little more color in the Discord, right? It's just kind of inherent to, like, that's where I spend most of my time when I'm not streaming. I'm chatting in there, so there is a benefit to that. So I do miss that angle from the pre-market stream time slot, but it's really hard to reach people at 5:30 in the morning. Like, there's only so many on. And I consider myself a night owl. Like I said, I was up last night for however many hours catching those longs. But yeah, if you're in the Discord, TradeWap, like, yeah, I just subscribe to my notifications so you get an alert when I say something in there. I say a lot though, so be prepared. Your phone will be dinging with Mitch notifications probably, but that's where I'd be looking for it. And while we're at it, and since we're about to close up here on the day with the market anyway, I'll stick around for a little while if there's still people here that want to talk or have me review anything. This is the link to the Discord. So if you guys want that information, you want access to the rake levels indicator, if you want access to the mastermind program, if you're new or you're trying to figure out a better system for you, how to read price action, trend analysis, you know, have a little bit better risk management, that is a huge benefit to the Discord. Obviously, I'm there. This is what I talk to. It's easier for me to talk on stream about it. Free every day if you want a little primer, but if you want kind of the full experience, that's where you would find it. So beyond that, if you guys want to follow me on Instagram and kind of see my pre-market plans from every day and some of the end-of-day review stuff that's kind of very superficial, right? Then you can follow me on Instagram. And then if you're interested in the mentoring I've been doing, there's a link in the bio for that as well. But the main goal for you guys being here is to just get this for free. I swear to God, this better not dump right in the last minute. I'm watching, because I will be salty if this gets to like 45 or 40. In like a few seconds here, I think 30 seconds or so, boogie. But my prop closed me out because of 15 minutes to close must be their hard line on Lucid, I guess. I think that's even true on Lucid though during the week. I think if you're trading after the bell in New York, I think you have until like 3:45 Central Time. So 45 minutes post close and they'll close you out. So I guess 15 minutes to the close today makes sense for them to close out. But ooh, little wiki wacky there. All right. So SPX equivalent 74.85 for the close. So where we open on Sunday night Globex, the profile, I believe, has not altered whatsoever because it can't, right? There's no options positions changing. How things shape up, I think the profile is very much the same. I will tell you guys though, we'll update this so you can see it. The current expected move as we closed right now going into Sunday is this range. So it is literally pricing in a potential move up towards like 76.40 on ES, right? And the downside, this kind of very tiny balance that we traded into the overnight is currently being priced in. So I would be paying attention. This is just something I've been doing lately, guys, because it seems to be a really good proxy for where we're going to open into the overnight on Sunday. Is if you look at Hyperliquid, look at USDC SP500 on Hyperliquid. generally that gives you a pretty good idea of where the futures market for ES is going to open on Sunday. So when Jake and Ron do a stream, if you want to kind of have an assumption of where we're about to open at 5 p.m. Central, that is one way that you can look. It seems to be a pretty nailed on approximation for where we'll open. Peter, this is just a reflection of the at the money straddle. There's a couple different ways of doing that in these sessions, but that is what it was looking like. And that's just kind of, like I said, it's a loose approximation. It's not nailed on until you actually get SPX options trading again and can kind of see what that straddle is being priced at. But that is what it was. So again, if you, what about for NQ assumption for open? I haven't actually looked at hyperliquid profit factor for the NQ side of it, but it is certainly there. So you could take a look at that. But I focus mostly for structure on ES and SPX. But I think you'll see more and more of that in the perps market. I do think that is kind of what's driving the single name futures. I think you're just going to see so much in the space there. There's just a lot going on, even with like the government and how that stuff is all managed. I think it is something that we'll have to pay more attention to, how that shifts things with regards to the markets we trade right now. I don't know, but I think it's pretty telling that there is so much activity there. And I do think it's kind of a unique avenue, especially for that kind of in-between time before the market opens back up over the weekend or during the week. Something to pay attention to if you just want to keep eyes on it. But if you just wait until the market opens anyway, then who cares? Anyway, guys, if you have any specific questions, now is a good time to ask them. The market is not moving anymore. If we want to do like a review of yesterday, we could certainly do that based on the kind of positioning yesterday. We can go back here. This was kind of the intraday positioning. We covered that kind of at length, why I was looking for longs yesterday. And it was pretty much this whole idea. If you guys are new here anyway, the shape of the day was always, do you hold over the 74.75 strike? Everything was pointing you higher. Everything down below us was pointing us higher. You can just see it all throughout the profile. There's even this kind of late potential to squeeze into the close to this higher strike. That was kind of my ultimate target for the SPX positions I was in, for the ES trades I took. But yesterday was pretty nailed on. The big risk on the day was what happened around this 75.45 strike on ES. This was kind of the door to like big time downside, but we just never got the real volatility to sell off. So my thought yesterday was always, if you're holding over this strike, long those dips, look for higher. And it pretty much proved true all day yesterday. Multiple attempts to do that. So yesterday was another day where I did catch the initial ES short. I didn't take an NQ long. I traded SPX instead, and then I did take a couple MES positions. But you can see all that. Again, go to my Instagram, look at the end of day review yesterday, look at the pre-market plan yesterday. You'll very clearly see how that was the dividing line on the whole day for me. 75.45 ES, you're either over it or you're under it. So what platform is this? This is just a custom Claude-based indicator I created, but I'm getting the data from an actual market maker positioning platform called VS3D. The guy who runs that is a former market maker, so he built it to reflect what he would be looking for if he was still trading on a market maker desk. There are many others out there. There is Quanted Options is a new one I've seen a little bit. Options Depth is what I used before VS3D. You've got Spot Gamma, Volland. Unusual Whales, coincidentally, has an add-on called Periscope, and you can get it through there. So if you're already using Unusual Whales, there's Quant Data is another one that does a lot of single name option stuff. So a little bit different in how they do it. They're more of like a naive GEX platform, but yeah, overall, there's many different options to get you what you want there. When you go to the hyperliquid chart on ES, that price is where the market could open on Sunday for futures. just watch it, Profit Factor. What you'll see generally is like that's where things are being positioned or traded around expectations. And almost every time, if you watch, look at like last Sunday on that chart, look at the price action and where it was settling into the actual Globex Open, it's within like a point or two almost every time, at least in my experience of looking at it. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's a pretty good approximation for ranges and stuff too. I've just been looking there. I don't know that it's 100%, but it's better than nothing to kind of have an idea of like where might be open, and based on what I look at, what is my plan going into Sunday as a result. So yeah. Anyway, guys, shoot your questions here. I'll give it another 15 minutes at most, probably, depending on what you guys are asking or what you're looking for. But I think market's closed. There's only so much we can cover. Well, again, overnight was the best action last night, obviously. I traded my plan. I traded it today. We clearly could not get over the structure for Monday. I do think Monday is going to be really interesting based on where we open and what the overnight does. Where we open on Monday and the cash session will be really informative. There's some risk. I'm not going to lie to you. The potential for VIX to ramp is actually quite high. There is the potential for VIX to get up and over 20 in a hurry on any kind of decent selling pressure. We didn't really get that yesterday, obviously. We kind of ranged around and had a little drift. The profile showed that. But the risk yesterday under 75.45 on ES, which is kind of the 75 SPX strike, was huge. And I think a move like last night, again, had that happen in cash session, that could have gotten the ball rolling really quickly. So I don't want to be a doomer or anything, but I am personally more interested in immediate downside convexity than I am like some kind of upside move. I think whatever upside we do get might be a little more of like the slow, grindy, smaller range trends than any kind of like ripper to the upside. I think those days are over for now. Which option is cheapest? Peter, the non-naive GEX models are nearly all uniform across the board, like $250 to $300 a month. Some of them are now being rolled into less proven platforms that are trying to capture more market share of people who trade individual names and things like that, and try to be like a jack of all trades platform. But if you're going to do that and still charge about the same amount, that's a better value proposition for somebody who trades those things than me, where I'm pretty much ES, SPX, NQ. And it's really, the platform is tailored to the ES, SPX people. NQ is just, like I've proven out, very correlated without having to have actual GEX information on NQ. So hopefully that helps. Trade WAP on WAP bi-weekly session is just once, right? Twice a week. Yeah, that is the mentoring service. I don't have a formal option for longer. It's more of a discussion we would have after doing a couple of sessions to find a discounted rate for longer term mentoring. Initially, what I do is, if it's a single session, that's one thing. And I don't want to spend time on this broadcast like going over this. You can DM me and we can talk about it there, or on Instagram or whatever. But the big thing for me would be, I want to meet you where you are. If I'm going to spend the time mentoring you, I'm not selling some course. It's just a generic one size fits all thing, because where you are in your trading journey and how ready you are to like take this on or layer it into what's already working for you is different than somebody who is brand new and says, I want this to be my primary method, right? It's going to be two completely different approaches. So it's not a one size fits all thing. It's very much a hand molded approach to wherever you might be in your journey. So hopefully that answers your question, TradeWap. But yeah, the short answer is yes, I do. But it's more tailored to the individual than just some blanket. And here's everything I know about GEX, right? Like, you have to be able to like absorb that knowledge and information. So we want to make sure that we know where you are to set you up for success for that if you're going to pursue that. But I think the best thing to do is if you're really new and you don't want to pursue that angle and you don't necessarily want to pay for something like that or that time with me, great. That's why I'm here. We're doing this for free. This is an hour for me every day. That's my time slot, to kind of just give you guys my background, what I see, how I'm trading, what I'm sitting in, why. And if you guys can kind of like, what is it, like osmosis or whatever, right? If you're just able to soak that in and absorb it, you know, that's a great value proposition for you. It's free. It's my time. It's every day. It's the same thing. Specific to that day, you're able to see exactly what I did, what I thought, how I did it, live for free. So, and then you've got Christian right after me. So if you're somebody who maybe, for whatever reason, identifies with ICT better, you've got that. You've got Alan. You've got Ron. You've got Jake. You've got all these styles that kind of all started from the same place with the mastermind, doing this for free live, even on a day like today, right? You had Jake and I on. So hopefully that's beneficial to you guys. And again, if you are new, if you're here and you're newer and you just stumbled on this at the end of a trading day and you're like, oh, this seems a little too advanced for me, that's okay, right? If I were brand new, you know, I was fortunate in that I did have success trading the mastermind pretty much immediately. I was already kind of on the uptick before I took the program under Jake. But then I just started being inquisitive, and I didn't need to go down this route. But once I did, I just found that it gave me that extra confidence. I really took a bigger leap forward than I thought I would. And I was already way better than I thought I was just from the mastermind. So that's me. And if it identifies, or something with you identifies with that, and you think you could get that same outcome, then I'll be here for you. Whether it's free, whether it's spending time together, whether you're in the Discord following me there, that's up to you. What you do with your time and your money and your attention is completely up to you. But I will reaffirm that if you want to be here, tune in every day, regardless of host. We are here for free. We're doing this every day. As Project 365, we're doing this for a year. We are committed. Jake is committed. All of us are putting our time and effort into this. And I think the other part of this that's really nice is that when you're kind of like paying it forward in a way. Somebody invested their time into me and their attention. The community from the rig trades community was something I just globbed onto and like took with both hands and really committed myself to see other people around me succeeding, and you're cheering each other on, and someone's going through a tough spell, you're there to kind of try to help them through it somehow. I see a lot of that dovetailing with what's happening here on Project 365, is that because you're putting your face out there, you're talking to people in chat, you're showing your screen, inherently you are building a community with other people to ask those questions. If they're too embarrassed to ask the question, they just tune in quietly and kind of absorb the information. And maybe they saw something and they took that trade, and then they see you take the same trade or a similar one with the similar rationale. That's an empowering feeling, right? You're getting that for free. If you want to take the next step, there are places for you to do that. Whether that's with me or another host in a mentoring situation, whether that's in the Discord, or whether that's just subscribing to the channel and just taking the long approach, and day by day, you're going to pick a little something up from this person and this person. I think even Jake has mentioned that many times. Someone's asked him on the chat, who is your mentor? You know, like, who do you attribute your success to? And I love his answer because it's almost uniformly, I attribute it to me. It's my effort. I did it. But I learned from this person. I didn't take everything from them. I liked this. I took this. I learned risk management from this person, or I really loved what I learned from this person in this way. And I think that's awesome. And, you know, I found Rake through Discord and through Twitter or Instagram, I think it was. And YouTube is a new venture for all of us, right? I never expected to put my face on camera and do this stuff because I do work full time. I have a full-time job that I have kids, I have a family. There's only so much time to go around, but I do love the idea of like paying it forward and giving back. I think that this particular Project 365 has kind of unlocked something in me that maybe was always there. If you guys are in the Discord or have any experience in it, if you search my name, you will probably see like top 10 amount of messages, and I have not been in any kind of an admin role in that Discord for years, right? Like I was just a guy in there for like 2 years, but I was so engaged with other people in there. I think this is just allowing me to do that in a different way, and I'm super thankful for it. I love the community we've built. I see a lot of familiar names in here, maybe less overall than the other hosts, right? But I am kind of unique in the sense that this isn't like a broadly accepted strategy, right? I do think this is kind of seen for whatever reason as like too hard or too geeky or too difficult or advanced. And I actually think it's like incredibly straightforward and simple. Like if you want to know how the market actually works and why certain things happen, this is it. And it's a very black and white situation. It's if this, then that, if that, then this. And it's very provable. So like I hope that over time and me being here, I'm kind of on the level of the other hosts as it's easier to digest and for people to understand and maybe start leveraging themselves, right? So yeah. How can I see trends faster than others? With regards to what, Kevin? Can you actually just elaborate on that a little bit? Maybe I can answer that better. Do you mean like on the chart? Like how can you identify a trend faster? I mean, trends are either there or they're not, right? So you'll have to tell me. Yeah. Oh, so just like how do you identify a trend? Well, I think on your chart, right? If we just look at this, let's look at last night as an example. Okay. And I'm going to go to ES because I had my notes on there, if they're still there, maybe. So last night, very easy to see we were kind of in a consolidation period, right? We got this kind of downtrend. We bounced, we consolidated overnight. We kind of consolidated yesterday during the day. But right off the bat, we dipped. And then we set a lower high. And this is on a 2-minute chart, mind you, right? So the whole idea of a trend is if you're continuously setting lower lows and lower highs, you're in a downtrend. Opposite's true. If you're in a higher high and a higher low, and you see that across multiple time frames, the stronger the trend is, right? Because every trend starts in a smaller time frame and is reflected up the ladder. Same thing in a downtrend, right? You can't have a downtrend on an hourly chart unless it starts on the smaller time frames. It's the whole idea of multi-time frame analysis. So if you want to see where a trend is starting, you obviously need to start on the smaller time frame and understand like if this is going to happen, it's going to start here. And then you're seeing that same confluence around the higher time frames. So I don't think that there's any like one magic trick. What I think and why I took the trades I did last night, expecting continuation of a downtrend, and maybe where I'm different than the other hosts and their strategies is a lot of them are looking at the bars of the price action to give you a story. I'm looking at the structure under the market that kind of generally drives those reactions or the places where those reactions should be taking place, right? So, excuse me, what I'm looking for is the fact that like this resistance here, this is a known resistance and what would be a very thin structure. So I was always looking for rejections around this area. I'm either looking for holds of it to trend upwards and then confirmation of that trend is a higher high, higher low, right? But if I was kind of favoring any rejections of this level from underneath, I'm looking for confirmation of that trend by setting lower highs. Lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. And then we consolidated at an area I thought it could happen. My confirmation for that was this, a higher high and a higher low that breaks a previous lower high. Now the structure has shifted. This is very basic stuff, Kevin. So like if this is new to you, I would really encourage you to hone in on that. But starting at the smaller time frame and then looking at the bigger time frame to understand, how is this correlated will be helpful for you. But that will become evident and obvious very quickly the more experienced you get. But it is really that simple. You're either trending or you're not. So if you're trending, what are the signs? What am I looking for in a smaller time frame that tells me this is either reversing or breaking out of consolidation? The confirmation of that is where a lot of people will look. I'm a little quicker in the sense of if I know the place where this is less or more likely to happen, where am I looking for that? How is that shaping my bias? Just like I said last night, I was looking for shorts. I took shorts the whole way down. I looked for consolidation. I said, this is where we might reverse. I took longs on NQ, literally capturing that entire move. Even though I caught the whole move down, I caught a bigger chunk of the move back up because I had like, you know, the data of like, this is where things may be likely to consolidate and then reverse. And then it's just a question of how much does that reversal keep going, right? And obviously it kept going. So my last runner was 70 points, but the entirety of the move that I captured was, you know, a couple hundred. Yeah, no problem. That's why we're here. Too quick sometimes. She wouldn't know. She's just the work wife. She gets the quickies. The real wife gets the good stuff. If she ever actually heard me walking by saying stuff like this, I would probably be on the couch for a long time. Appreciate your streams and insights in the Discord. Wish I was able to tune in more during this time. Appreciate that urge to trade. That is very kind of you to say. That is why we're here. Vish, I don't know if that's the comment about the work wife or what. If it is, you know, my bad. Let me see here, guys. I don't know that we have a whole lot. I don't even know if I have a giveaway that I can run, honestly. I think those are all used up. I think I can do one. I'll do one, and I think we might have one for Christian to give away too if he's going to tune in here. I think he said he was going to tune in. Let me double check. Yeah, I think Christian will actually be on here in about 8 minutes. He will start after I drop. So let me go ahead. I'm going to grab this code and just make sure that I can use it. Let's do a giveaway for the devoted few who are still here. So we're going to do this. It's going to be a 5-minute timer. You guys have some pretty good odds, I would say, at this point. So if you are here, you are dedicated on a day where the market is already closed. I am super happy to have you guys. Thank you for being here. This is my thanks to you. This is a 25K growth account through Tradeify. So go ahead and start hitting that exclamation enter. Yeah, Lomeli, I kind of felt the same way. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to catch this. I had the benefit. I had the last little 30 minutes of the market in my favor, but I figured I'm already at the desk. Why not? It's an interesting day to talk to it. There was a lot of action overnight. It was super fun to trade that overnight. So I wanted to make sure that I covered it, kind of why I took it. And from a structural standpoint, from a macroeconomic standpoint, that is something we're going to have to watch for too, guys. I know we kind of loosely touched on it, but the whole thing about post-OPEX and after this very hawkish kind of tone that Kevin Warsh took with the FOMC, a strong dollar is going to have some impact. The yen carry trade could be something that hasn't really been much of a concern to date. And now that you take the Iran conflict kind of off the table for the most part, these other things that are of influence will get more attention and more weight from an influence standpoint. We also have earnings coming up again in the not too distant future where there's some risk to the whole AI narrative, right? If you don't start seeing some return on investment and you've got these companies starting to leverage debt and bond sales to raise capital because they've already put so much CapEx investment out there, that could be a risk to the market. If you don't want to think about those things and just trade the chart, go nuts. I tend to look at what is the potential for volatility, what are the risks in the market that are or are not being priced in, and how does that show up on the positioning, and where do those kind of risk areas show up? And I think that there are actually a lot of those still out there that will be really interesting to see kind of play out. So again, just really quickly, while we wait for this giveaway to wrap up in a few minutes here, these kind of bubbles, guys, are what I normally will draw a little bit to kind of show you the excuse me, the ranges and kind of where we would trade. So I think going into the overnight last night, why did I kind of have this little spot marked? You could see it in my kind of Globex pre-market plan, very early pre-market plan for Monday. It was all around this idea of ranges and behaviors. So if we rejected under this strike, I was already looking for us to go down here. So that wasn't like a surprise to me by any means. That's something that I was targeting once we rejected. That's why I was so excited about rejecting that strike, because I knew there wasn't really anything in the range until much lower to look for. And that was also why I was looking for a pause there. So the second we started consolidating here, as much as I thought we could go a lot lower, right? The big thing to me was if we hold here, and that's where I think I showed you guys too. I mentioned this. This was me messaging Alan last night about why I think that sell-off initiated the way it did. This line right here. I'd be looking for how much those two particular markets continue to sell into the latter half of their session, or if they stabilize, which could lead to a bit of a relief bounce or rally as a result. Difficult situation because you have cash, SPX, NDX being locked up until Monday, and a futures only book being traded. So when we consolidated here, I'm just going to show this one more time for the people who are late. If you look at the Nikkei and that same time, look what happened. We consolidated and we got the relief rally. You look at Kospi, Korea, very tightly correlated with US markets as well, right? Same thing. Little relief there meant that NQ and ES were likely to follow. More confluence with us doing that at a key ES and SPX support. Bada bing, bada boom. Up we go. Big reversal rally. So that is what I mean when I say these things are correlated. Where positions are deployed is where behaviors are going to be expected. If you know how to see those things, you know how to take advantage. You have an edge that a lot of people are only guessing at with bars and price action. So that's my sales pitch on why this stuff is important and why I trade it. If it makes sense to you, great. If not, tune in next time and we'll try to drill it into your brain. Otherwise, I will be watching the USA match this afternoon in the World Cup. I'll be enjoying my weekend, and we will be back at it next week. So we've got 15 seconds here. I see a decent amount of users have entered. If you aren't entered, I hope you're getting those tickets in. 3, 2, and 1. All right, time for the winner. We got a drum roll. We got, no way, Liz Garcia with all of the flowers yesterday. Dude, congratulations, Liz. I hope you're still there. Liz. Liz. Please tell me you're still in the chat. Give me a response, Liz, so I know you're alive. I didn't pick her at all. If she actually saw me on Ellen, that is like legitimately hilarious if that's true. Liz, if you're there, God, I hope she didn't drop off at the last second. I'm going to give her 1 minute, guys. Christian, I'm so sorry. It might be a minute. I just want to give Liz a second here. Yeah, Liz. All right. Hit me up here. You are the winner. Hit me up on Instagram. Shoot me a DM. This is the link to my Instagram. Hit me up there. Shoot me a screenshot of your YouTube profile if you don't mind. It's not that I don't believe you, but that would be great. What would be really funny, Liz, is if you actually have a picture of me on the TV while you were watching and saw me there. But I think you said backstage or something. I don't remember. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm going to kick it over to Christian, who is going to not watch the market because it's not moving, but he's going to be here for you guys to answer some questions and hang out for a bit. So shout out to Christian for being here, and appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in on a very slow half market day. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys next week. And I will be, for Discord folks that are in here, I will be posting a look ahead day-by-day breakdown based on the Sunday positioning looking forward. It's fun to do because it gives you a little bit of a barometer. What are the key strikes, and maybe what are we looking at into the week? So yeah, that is it for me. Happy weekend, guys. Thanks for being here again, and we will see you later. All right, take care. Bye.
What is up, chat? What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. What a weird day, right? Market closed early. I was gonna take the day off, but I said, look, no. I felt weird not popping in, man. I was like, who am I to skip chat? I was literally about getting ready to leave. Leave the house. I was like, nah. It bugs me. Bugs me not popping in. So I'll be live for about an hour. The whole objective here would be I'll go over some trades I took this morning for my AM session, and just chat up. Nothing. No trading given market is closed. No trading. I'll pop up the charts here, but yeah, we'll be walking through trades I took and why I took them. So I think I would argue today would be very, very insightful, given that I'm not focused on any trades, right? But yeah, letting people trickle in here. Gonna make a quick Instagram post for those that want to tune in. Let me see. I'll do live now. What's up? What's up? Did you guys trade today? Yo, let's see. What's up? What's up? Lomeli dog, Peter, my guy, Mitch, Peter. That beard makes you from 3 out of 10 to 7 out of 10. Yo, yo. Bright side, it's impossible for me to lose money in Lomeli stream today. Lomeli session. Hey, that's what. Yeah, you can't make or lose money. Fancy leads. Let me see. Where's the link? Paste link. YouTube. Live now. And then we'll go ahead and pick a song. Okay. Let's rock it, Kadir, my guy. Let's see. All right, letting that story post. What's up, chat? Figured I'd use this time to, how can I, Aaron, my guy. So when we'll run a giveaway here at the end of stream, and what you'll do is you just type in exclamation point enter. So you'll type in this entry, and that'll get you a Peter. That's Matt Suts. Yo, Peter, bro, Peter rated me, chat. Peter rated me, chat. How do we feel about that, chat? All right, story is up and running. Cool. Did I trade today? No, Barry. Today I did not, and I'm kind of happy I didn't because of the action that we had. Oh shit. Let me play some, there we go, some vibey music now. So yeah, this week, the only days I traded was Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesday and Thursday were the only days I put on risk. I was green on the week. Very, not my biggest week, right? But I was up slightly. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I got you, brother. So tune in. So what I'll do here, chat, is let's go ahead and start off with essentially the trades I took, right? Which we'll go over Tuesday and Tuesday, replay, start new. And I guess you guys can kind of see how I look at you follow my shirt. Okay, so for this day, here, let me go ahead and, okay, so coming into Tuesday. So those just popping in here, I'm just going through essentially 2 trades I took this week. One on Tuesday, and where I added into a winner, right? And another one on Thursday, or 2 trades on Tuesday, actually. So Tuesday, complimented his looks. Maxi says, nah, I'm playing. We're giving you shit, Peter. So let's get started. Going into Tuesday, going into Tuesday, some things I noticed, right? Which was, I start from the top-down analysis. Matter of fact, I'll read out what I typed up. I said, going into the weekly, we simply displaced deep into premium on Asia session during Sunday/Monday, right? So we're deep in premium of this range. And again, this might sound boring, but I think this will be very, very useful if you trade the way I trade, which is ICT. We're deep in premium. The daily inverted the bearish gap and is now trading right above the upper end of the bar near all-time high, right? So the daily, what I noticed is we inverted this bearish gap and we're trading right above the upper end of this bar's high, right? So immediately my draw goes to the all-time highs. The 4 hour inverted the bullish gap yesterday, and going into pre-market, NQ took out prior day highs while ES didn't. So if you look at ES was slightly below the high here while NQ took out the high. We had inverted this small bearish or bullish gap here. We went to go take prior day high and completely rejected it. So the next level that we had for price to pull back into, because we're still technically bullish on the higher time frames, was this 671, which was a 4 hour fair value gap. There's nothing on the daily, nothing on the weekly. 4 hour, and I believe it was also 1 hour fair value gap. Yes, so that was the overall draw coming into the session, right? So this is how I get my targets, how I get my narrative. Going into the hourly, we had this hourly gap that we inverted. We went up to take out the high. We created a small little gap here that we then displaced below it. Where do we also displace below? This this pink box is prior or new day opening gap, right? So at this point, we had relative equal lows down below us. I was like, okay, if we get a pullback into where, right? So I start compiling clues essentially. This bearish, essentially breaker, 15 minute breaker. We'll draw up here. So this is, let's title it breaker, right? We had a bearish 15-minute gap, which again, I'm just drawing stuff up so it's easier to see. And I believe it was also premium of the range, right? So if we go discount premium, that was sitting around premium of the range. So going into the session, I was, okay, this is my area of interest. If price is bearish, we shouldn't go back up to take out the high, right? If price, I start thinking the other way, right? If I was bullish, would price trade above my area of interest, right? And the answer here is no. If price is bearish, we should reject this area. We have daily, we also have this hourly invert here, right? This is the hourly invert. So let's see, 30-minute, there's also 30-minute breaker. So in my head, I start thinking, if price is really bearish, we should reject somewhere around this area. Why? We have a whole bunch of quote unquote resistance up in this area. For me to then trade into these relative equal lows, the next target was the 671 level, right? So yeah, that was the overall game plan coming into the session on Tuesday, right? And for me, I want to see price. I want to have a read on price, right? But I also want price to confirm it. So I created a game plan. And if price does what I want it to do, then I take a trade. So yeah, so for the game plan, I put going to the session, my draw on liquidity is the relative equal highs, relative equal lows on Asia, which is this, at the 755. What's it called? My area of interest would be this breaker, which is this 872 area. And if those relative equal lows get taken, the draw would be 671. That was essentially the game plan I created on Tuesday. So I just wait for market open. We took out the relative equal lows, which now that level gets kind of taken off. So now the actual draw for me was these 671. Ideally, what I wanted it to do was pull back before taking out these relative equal lows. Because whenever I see these relative equal lows and I have a idea of price wanting to go lower, this is like an easy target where price should trade down to, right? So yeah, was patient, waited for my area of interest. And on the what's the 5 minute looking like? The 5 minute, we had these relative equal or swing highs here, right? So we could call it buy side liquidity. And at this point, just waiting. So we tap into my area of interest. We tapped into the 15-minute breaker, the 15-minute fair value gap, the hourly invert, right? And premium of the range, which I believe, yeah, premium of the range. And at this point, just waiting for the 1 minute to give me an entry confirmation, right? But at this point, waiting for a change in state. So if we pop up the change in state indicator, right? All it is a market structure shift, right? So at this point, that would be the change in state, right? The close below that candle, which I didn't take. This was a trade to take. I took it 1 minute after. Target being that low for a 4-hour trade. I wanted it to close below. We went back to retest it. And that was the trade I took here. Why? Because I waited for the new day opening gap to close, right? And we also closed below this little invert, this little 1 minute gap. We closed below it, which in hindsight, maybe I should have taken that one. So this gave me a almost a 2-hour trade versus a, what was it? A 4-hour trade, right? Now, I'm not done with this trade yet. What happened was I added to the trade. Why? We had where is it at? So we had a 5-minute gap here that I was like, okay, if we hold this could be a new area where price can create essentially a potential lower high, trade lower. And if that does happen, I can move my stop lower, add to the position, add potential R multiple without adding much risk. So that's kind of the idea that I had. I'm like, okay, we tapped into it. Where do we tap into? The last up candle before the down move, right? How's the 15-minute looking? Also, this is game, chat. This is fucking game. At this point, the 15-minute is very wicky on the upside. So all I was waiting for is this last up candle. I was looking at the 15-minute close. And if you guys don't do this already, this is fucking game. So at this point, it's 7:10. The next 15-minute candle, if it closes below this pink bar, this pink rectangle, which is a 15-minute order block, right? That just gives me an extra layer of confirmation that price shouldn't go back up. So at this point, I waited. I was waiting for this 1 minute to invert, basically, right? If this 1 minute inverted, and traded slightly around this box before 7:15, we would get everything aligning. So at this point, I added with the stop here. So this stop went down here as well. So now I was roughly around the same entry point, but now my stop got tighter, risking still the same 1R, but now my R multiple increased, right? And at this point, it was 7:14. So we closed right around that 15-minute order block that I wanted it to close inside of, right? So at this point, I was like, if price wants to go lower, the 5-minute just created a potential lower high inside my area of interest. We already tapped it, right? And the 15-minute, yeah, the hourly is rejecting this invert, rejecting this bearish order block. Alongside everything else aligning, right? The 4-hour, that's divergence at the highs, took out the daily high. Essentially, we're deep in premium of the range, right? Of the overall higher time frame. The 4-hour inverted this small little bearish gap. I think if we were bullish, we should have held. We traded higher just to take out the high to what then do? Come down and take out the tap into the gap entry, right? We have a gap entry, then a gap fill here. So this was a target coming into the session. So at that point, I was done. I was hands off and just letting one of two things, the trade play out or my TP hit. And yeah, there you go, TP hit. So that was my trade on Tuesday. That was the thought process. My limit order was a couple points above this level, so I got filled literally right here, which again, I posted it on my story. And I think I made a reel on this as well. So yeah, that was an amazing trade. It was up around 3.5 R. And let's see what we did, because I didn't stick around for the middle of the day. Okay, so yeah, that was my trade on Tuesday, right? And I'll do this Wednesday AM. I was thinking about ideas on what to cover, and this just popped up. I'm like, you know what? I didn't take that many trades this week, given it was a short week and not that many opportunities presented themselves. So we have Thursday AM, my AM trades, or what we'll cover next. Let me see, popping up chat here. Bro, this song's so fire, my dog. Yeah, it's a little playlist called Ibiza Coast Cafe del Mar. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, pop them in and I'll gladly answer them. That was my trade on Tuesday, sorry. And let's see, let's pop up yesterday, because yesterday was a tricky one for me, which I should have been green, but let me see, 7. Let's pop in right before market open as well. Let me see, let me pop up the Thursday, my Thursday game plan. Actually, before I do that, chat, let me pop up my electrolytes real quick. Yeah, Wednesday was, sorry, not Wednesday. Thursday was a little bit trickier because I was right on the idea, but just because I added into a winner, or sorry, simply because I added into a trade, my overall trade kind of got skewed, and I'll show you guys exactly why that was. A short week, given it was FOMC as well. Tuesday, at what time, so I could see the replay, my brother? So Tuesday trade was around, it was early AM, for sure the first hour. I just literally did a whole breakdown right now. Tuesday from about 6:58 to say 7:30 my time. So 6:58 would be 9:58 to 10:30 Eastern time. So before we get started with the other day, so if I see untouched fair value gap, what does that mean? Screaming bullish? Not necessarily. You have to use it in context with every other time frame. So an untouched fair value gap means nothing without context. Christian Mestizo, my guy, how's it going, brother? Just doing some reviews on my trades this week. Just covered Tuesday, and Wednesday I was cash, and now covering Thursday, right? So my notes for Thursday, we'll do the same thing. I was the weekly got the gap fill from FOMC yesterday, right? So if you pop up the new week opening gap here, we got the gap fill that we were looking for on overnight, right? Wednesday night. And then I said the daily inverted the bearish gap and now we're expecting bullish gap. ES also retested the daily change in state of delivery. So if we go on the daily, we inverted this bearish gap, right? Now we're respecting this bullish gap. After getting the new week opening gap fill test, right here, and on ES, if we pop up the change in state, we tapped the change in state, which is all it is a market structure shift. We broke it. Actually, cancel. How do I cancel this? Oh, there you man, whatever. We closed above the change in state. We came back to retest it, right? And that's where we were sitting at. I just messed up my whole replay stuff. Let me see. There we go. And then I wrote long bias going into the session, remaining patient for price to develop, and even allow for the new 4-hour candle to close or to open to find an entry off a continuation play into those levels above. So what levels, right? Let's see. So yeah, the weekly, the daily, I was bullish coming into the day, right? So actually this day I will do this. So weekly / daily bullish. You know what? I'll just copy and paste this. How about that? Copy. Excuse the typos. I just precise, whatever. You guys know what I mean. Let's do 18. Actually, is that too long? There we go. So this is kind of the overall idea coming to the day. So with the idea that we had prices trading higher, my overall objective for this session was I wanted to see how that high reacted. Not only that, but I also wanted this 4-hour gap fill was the next level. Not only that, that was a 1-hour gap fill as well. So let's go ahead and title that 4-hour / 1-hour gap fill. We have a 1-hour gap entry here that I don't look for targets, but it'll come in. You guys will understand why, because it played a role in my trade. So coming into the session, I was bullish, waiting for price to develop, essentially. So what did I do? I waited, right? We traded back down. We rejected prior day highs, right? Inside a 4-hour bearish gap. So in this case, I was like, shit, are we wanting to trade lower, right? That's the first thing that popped in mind. But we traded lower to where, so long we held this series of down close candles, my bias still remained bullish. So long the hourly closed above the series of down close candles, or even the last down candle, whatever, right? Same thing. I was to remain bullish no matter how we reacted off the high. With targets at the 4-hour, 1-hour gap fill. That was my main objective because that was the next draw if price was bullish. So on the 15-minute, what is it? 5 minutes. One minute. Yeah, this is a trade I took. So we retrace. Okay, this is perfect. I have a higher draw on the daily, weekly, the 4-hour and 1-hour are still holding my areas of interest. Not in the speed I had wanted it to. We just rejected the last up candle before the down move, right? We rejected this bearish 5-minute gap. So and the 1 minute just displaced lower. So in my head, what I'm thinking is if I was bearish off that 1 minute change in state, if I was bearish, right? This is how I get over like overthinking stuff and just executing my game plan. If I was bearish, right? And I was shorting this, and out of nowhere I see a pop like this, and more importantly, us taking out the stop loss, right? I would be instantly trying to long this instantly, right? Not only that, if we invert this 5-minute gap / 1 minute gap, I'm in those, right? So at this point, I took the trade. Ideally, I think I should have taken it here with the stop at the lows or something. But I took it here with the targeting the same 780 level. And my stop was 480. Why 480? We had the 5-minute, this 1 minute invert, this 1 minute invert here as well. We had a 5-minute, it was around the middle of this 5-minute order block, right? Last down candle. Usually I would love to have stops at swing highs and lows, but whenever the stop is too wide and the risk doesn't favor the reward, like in this case, it would have been a 1-to-1, which isn't bad, but this was a little bit better, right? So that was a trade. I was in it and eventually got ticked out, got stopped out. I believe my stop was like at 75 or so, literally stopped out. So now I reassessed, right? This was a loser. Then I zoom out again. I'm like, okay, the delivery isn't the greatest, right? Coming into Thursday, day after FOMC, but I'm still bullish, right? The hourly still closed how I wanted it to close, aligned with my daily and 4-hour bias. The 30-minute held the fair value gap here. So we're technically still delivering bullish, but price is just being sloppy. So what did I do? We traded from premium to, this is where I think premium discount excels. We traded from premium back into OTE. So in my head, I'm like, okay, we could potentially still keep trading higher. So what I do, I took another stab off this 5-minute invert. Took another stab. With the stop at the low, targeting that same level. It was a lower R to R, but I still was highly convicted on that draw. So that was a trade I took. Everything was fine, right? Everything was fine. My only mistake, in my opinion, was adding here so here, this trade I longed here, and my stop now became a 575-ish area, targeting that draw. So I did the same thing, right? I moved this stop up higher, right? And just added to this trade essentially, right? Traded into that 1-hour gap entry, which my finger was on the trigger to exit just everything. I would have been green on the day, but I was like, no, let me let the trade play out and let's actually trade into my overall objective. The trade played out, stopped me out. Never took out my original stop loss, which I was a bit frustrated on, honestly, because then I came into PM session this close to my TP and let's see, let it hit. Come on. Let's go. All right, there you go. So it ended up hitting the last like 15 minutes or so of market open, which would have put me up on the day. I think my mistake was trying to add on a day where conditions were clearly ranging, right? And that was my mistake. But as far as entry models go, I think that I need to do better on, this is just me being vulnerable. You need to be better at being more, my read on market is very, very precise most days. I just need to do better at getting entries slightly earlier and instead of waiting for everything to align. Because at this point, for everything to align, it's perfect, right? It's all nice and dandy, but my risk to reward does go down a lot. Like at this point, I was convicted on higher draw because of the reaction And even here, even if I were to take this one, for example, right? Better R to R, although the hit rate might take a hit. I think it makes up for the R to R. Same thing on, well, I guess not in this trade because this trade was pretty decent, but more so on my first take. The first take that wouldn't have gotten stopped out had I just been a little bit more confident on taking my entry slightly earlier. Like I said, I think it's very important if you guys trade how I trade, to always think, okay, if I were to enter here, but let's go back. If I'm assuming a lot of you, everyone on here, or if not majority, trades ICT, right? If not, you kind of wouldn't be watching this. If you were short off that 50-minute last up candle, you rejected the 4-hour gap, took out a swing high. So this looks bearish, technically, right? But if you understand context and you understand draw and where price is headed towards, we rejected this 5-minute bearish gap. We got a 1-minute change of state. So if you were, in my head, I'm like, okay, and I love these scenarios that look picture perfect to one side, opposing my overall draw, because the first instant or the first moment where I see a flip of sentiment, I know I see trap traders. So in this case, I wouldn't take this, but at that point, I'm like, okay, this is looking good. I'm sure these shorts that were trying to short are now caught, right? And more so, where would they be caught? At the stop, at their stop loss, which is the swing high, which is where I took my entry. At this point, I think it was valid to take an entry, which was there, maybe a stop below, maybe a stop at the low, right? Even then, it was a 2.3 arch, or a little bit over 2R trade. So at this point, I would have never gotten stopped out, and yeah, the trade would have played out. It would have taken all day, but it would have played out, right? And let's see. So yeah, I think that's where I think experience excels, is in trying to see trap traders. Whatever system you play or you trade, you want to look for trap traders. You want to understand what the opposite side of the traders are doing, right? And if sometimes I catch myself where I'm like, okay, if I was in this short, man, this shit fucking looks amazing. I'm not even gonna touch my long bias, right? And in this case is where we don't even take out the low, right? We just reject, we move slightly lower, and we trade higher. This, in my opinion, is, again, where experience excels, is in the fact that you can see trapped buyers or sellers in price alone, right? If you get in shorts here and we could completely displace higher into your break even, and then quickly after into your approaching your stop loss, like, you don't want to see that, right? So yeah, that was my 2 trades coming into Thursday, right? And so overall on the week for my AM session, I'm up slightly. Not my biggest week, but it's also not my worst week, right? It's just another week, another one for the books, and we move on, right? Going into Friday, I decided to take today off. And I mean, look at price, right? This is on the 1 minute. There's really not much you can do on these bank holidays. I think that if you do trade them, you got to be very, very careful, right? There's not much action. And let's see. Pop up chat now. Let's pop up chat. Victoria, how's it going, Victoria? Happy Friday. Hi, the Ripper, my dog. How's it going? Yo, is this a back test? No, it's I walked you guys through my 2 trading days for AM session that I took this week, and walked you guys through the trades I took, and my overall thought process, what I think I did not so good in, and what I think I did amazing on. You dog, rough. What the fuck? Yeah, I don't even know how to reply to that. But yeah, chat, do you guys have any questions? I think that this type of yeah, like I said, I was literally getting ready to leave the house, and I was like, you know what, let me pop in for at least an hour and walk through some trades I took, and maybe it can benefit some of you guys watching, because I know there's a handful of you guys currently just watching, listening, right? Because that was me trying to get as much knowledge as you possibly can, and not really looking to chat up or comment, just literally listening. And for those people, I'm talking to you, like, you know, this is very beneficial, right? If you guys go back and rewatch it, there's a lot of game in these breakdowns. And my guy, what's up, KNQ? We do have a giveaway here that we'll run. Razi, my guy, appreciate you, appreciate you watching. So Friday, yeah, for sure was cash. Wednesday I showed up, but nothing was to my liking. Oh yeah, there you go. Wednesday. This is a good I wanted to walk through Wednesday and why. I think Wednesday I did a bad job in understanding context. Appreciate your daily setups before the session starts. Jeremy, yeah, fuck yeah. Appreciate you, my guy. So on Wednesday, this is my game plan on Wednesday. Let's see. The market is closed, yeah. So on Wednesday, I typed up, the weekly got the gap fill from FOMC yesterday. Wait, no, this is Thursday. So yeah, coming into Wednesday, is this the Wednesday bar? Let me see. Yeah, coming into Wednesday, same idea, right? But in this case, there's no lower wick on the weekly. So whenever I see that, if we zoom out and look at every single weekly bar candle, every single candle has, for the most part, an upper wick and a lower wick. So I was a little bit hesitant to long, right, going into Wednesday. But especially after this close, we rejected and we traded lower. So my draw now became the new week opening gap, but more so just this bar's low, right? Especially after this displacement, rejecting the 4-hour gap, right? 4-hour gap. Then the 1 hour had this small little bearish gap here, right? That was my area of interest. So FEG. So at this point, these become my draw, the swing low, then these prior day lows, right? These were my obvious draws coming into the session. And yeah, coming into the session, I think the market opened here at 9:30. We tapped my area of interest right into the market open, and we displaced lower, right? So I didn't take anything this day, but I'll walk you guys through, I think, my lack of being aware of market context. I think I missed a couple trades that I still think were valid. At this point, I was looking for a short in this area, which we never got. We went up, take out the high in my area of interest. At this point, even if I skip this trade, and again, Chad, I haven't reviewed yet, so this is just based off of my thoughts. I guess my intraday review, which is the Friday or Wednesday close. At this point, I'm like, okay. At this point, I was looking for a potential short, but I'm like, no, this isn't my model, right? We're this far away from the high, and the low doesn't make it worth it, right? So even if I did slap some shorts here, risk to reward is not, it's 101, right? I didn't really like it, so I skipped it. We took out the London lows, and we immediately traded higher. At this point, I remember I was looking for shorts in this area. In that area, why? It was a 15-minute breaker. Yeah, so we got a 15-minute breaker. So let me replay that again. We had a 15-minute breaker. The hourly, we also had a 5-minute breaker here. We had a 1-minute fair value gap. So I was looking for some sort of short entry model here, right in this area. It was also around equilibrium of the range, but we never got it. We just kept trading higher. So at this point, At this point, I think what I lacked on doing is, given I was already bearish bias on the higher time frame and understanding context. Every time we come to this area, we reject. Every time we come to this area, we reject. We're clearly in a range trading environment. We're not trending. And not only that, we're bearish on the higher time frames, or at least I was, right? So in this case, this is a clear indication of, okay, understanding market context. And to top it off, the 15-minute was still technically bearish so long we held this bearish order block. So understanding market context in this scenario, it's like, I'm not trying to trade a breakout because that will fail, right? In range market conditions, you want to be trading the extremes of highs fading back into the range when the higher time frame is bearish. So if the higher time frame looks like this and intraday looks like this, you want to be trading the extremes of higher time frames in the higher time frame what's it called, downtrend. So this if you're able to understand this, chat, this is fucking game. This I feel like not even paid mentorships kind of explain and go into the exact depth on market sentiment, market context, and it's because I think that they don't really understand how that plays a role, right? So sure, intraday price action is very rangy, up and down, but at this point, what I failed to realize, at this point I walked away, right? But I failed to realize that, okay, as soon as we reject price footprints in this area, right? So let's play it. A short was valid, right? And I was looking at it, but I was like, do I really want to take it, put on risk here on Wednesday? Which at this point, once we inverted these two 1-minute fair value gaps, I was looking for a short, which I didn't take, but I think that was valid given market context, right? And let's see, how was the 5-minute looking here? It was valid towards the overall draw, right? So I think that was a valid trade that I think I should have done a better job in understanding context, and I didn't, right? So that was not a mistake on my end, but I think that I need to get better at being comfortable with my knowledge in range versus trending markets, right? So in this case, we literally played out, which I would have taken everything out at these London lows, to be fair. I genuinely forgot what happened. I think FOMC is what made us dump, right? Yeah, FOMC dumped and eventually took out priority low, and more than anything, we traded into that new week opening gap. But this is what experience gets you. It's understanding that, again, I'll walk you guys through exactly what. Given that the higher time frame is bearish, intraday, not every day is going to look like this, right? Intraday can look like this most days, right? And that's just the nature of trading one instrument, NQ. But if you're able to understand context and pair these two together, this is where you can fade these highs and down markets and fade the lows in uptrend markets, right? Now, when these two are synced, right, or vice versa, right? Well, actually, when these two are synced, meaning that the higher time frame is uptrending and the lower time frame is uptrending, this is where I think that you also need to do a good job in understanding and put on more risk, right? Because this is where conditions are super easy. And this is kind of like the conditions we had earlier, like the first month of the project, right? And I think that I also did a bad job in I think partially was also like the pressure for this new project, right? For me, and not being able to capitalize on markets and how they were being. Literally, first week we started, chat, we just kept pushing and pushing, and I was like, holy shit. So yeah, I think that this is game here. Even if you took it at premium at discount, right? Even if you took most of the trade off at discount of the range, it was still a valid scalp in my opinion. Like a 1-to-1, right? But yeah, I think that this day I did a really not so good job at the thing is I was understanding context, but I didn't want to put on risk, although I did understand context. And I think that it's because of how rangy we were that I wasn't comfortable doing so. Whereas in my head, I'm like, okay, it's FOMC day. Price could just continue trending up, go a little bit higher, take out the swing high, and then come back lower. So that's where my head was. And I was like, I don't want to have this be red and then for whatever reason take another trade here and be down 2R for this session, which I guess is a valid way of thinking. But I think that I need to get better. I need to get better at following my conviction a little bit more, because I was convicted on shorts here, which I skipped because of context. I was looking at a short here that never came. I was looking at a short here that I never took, and I just saw this dump, and I was like, holy, all right, whatever. Like, I'm done, right? Thanks for YouTube video, my guy. Yeah, got you, brother. Yeah, for those that just tuned in, I did start a YouTube channel, which because I mean, the demand was every other stream someone would ask, do you have a YouTube channel? So I went ahead and created one, and I made a video, my first video here on here. So it's Lomeli Trades on YouTube, same as my Instagram. And I made a video kind of simply walking through how I look at overall draw, how I look at price, and quick little 15-minute video. Would appreciate it. We're at 376 subscribers so far. So if we get to 1,000 by the end of the year, we'll see. That's the goal. Let's see. But yeah, I got you, brother. Plan on making a lot more videos on there. Hey, bro, can you cover how you choose when not to trade? Yeah, I got you. I thought I was having issues. Oh, no. Yeah, market's closed there on. Nah, the market won't open for ages. Or actually, that's a good question. No, I doubt it, right? No, I don't think it will. Wait, yeah, fuck no, it's Friday. Yeah, I'm tripping. It won't open for ages. It'll open on Sunday. Great sauce. That would have saved me this week. Profit factor, yeah, I think it's if you trade ICT and you trade similar to how I trade, I think me going over this Wednesday was very, very, it should have been very, very helpful in understanding context, right? I accidentally didn't close my short position. Will the market gap up or down Monday in NASDAQ? Shit, I don't know. I wouldn't be able to tell you. All I could tell you is, because anything can happen, right? Am I a genie? No, I'm just here to trade price. Now, I'm leaning definitely more, let me see. Definitely leaning more bullish. Definitely leaning a lot more bullish. But we'll see how we open. It all depends on how we open. But if we open around the same area, yeah, literally the next draw would be swing high and then all-time highs. We just disrespected this bearish gap. We are inside a bearish 4-hour gap though, but yeah, we have to see how we open. We have to see how we open on Sunday. Yeah. Once we see liquidity, price usually reverses after that. Not always, but yeah, every time we get a high or a low get taken out, it's what Jake calls a failure to go higher, failure to go lower. It's the same thing. If the candle closes back in the range, price should continue in the range direction. If it doesn't, then you take that as a sign. But That's all it is, right? A swing high or low getting taken is essentially just failure to go higher / failure to go lower. Took another payout from GC shorts this morning. Fuck yeah, Joe. Joe, you've been crushing it, brother. Keep it up. I really struggle with patience, waiting for a setup and end up seeing false opportunities and chop. Any advice? I think that you just need a little bit more screen time, Princess. I think screen time would help you a lot. I think for me, what really genuinely helped me is, I kid you not, Chad, every single Saturday or Sunday or even Friday night, and my girlfriend can attest to this too, like I would do nothing but go to coffee shops, and I would bounce around from coffee shop to coffee shop. You want to talk about coffee bar shop hopping? I was that. I literally spent 7-8 hours every Saturday or Sunday or even Friday, right? And I would just walk through every single scenario on the market's week, right? And I would try to see what I was missing, because I always thought I was missing something because I wasn't making money. And partially that's partially true, right? If you don't have the experience and the market understanding of okay, I understand that when price does this, if price does this, then price should do this. And if that thesis is wrong, you're okay with sitting out because you trust in your analysis. If you haven't got to that point, you need to do more looking at charts. You need more screen time. And I think that for me, like I was saying, like spending that amount of time looking at charts and understanding how price moves and understanding that price will go up, it'll go down. Now, where is price pulling back into when in an uptrend? Vice versa, when is price going to be rangy? And compiling everything together into a whole well-oiled system, for me, that allows me to skip certain days, capitalize on certain days, and everything from A to Z. If you don't have that locked in, if you don't have that be a priority, you're just going to be in this cycle. If you just expect to show up every single day, put on trades, and go about your weekend, detach, right? Detach on the weekends when you're still not understanding price and you're not understanding the issues you're going through. I think that you're at a big disadvantage. And I think it's for me, at least, it was ego. For me, I realized that it was ego early. I think partially was age, but also partially just being so naive. I thought that so long I showed up 1-2 hours during the market and I just showed up, I would get some sort of participation paycheck, right? That's my thought. And I went for like 2 years like that. Not even, it was like a year and a half. The first year and a half for me was very not professional, if I want to call it. My bad, bro. Could you send your YouTube link in that chat? I missed your name. I didn't get to put it down. I like your style so far. My guy, I got you. It's here, I'll pop it up. I don't know if I can't pop up a link, I guess, but I'll pop it up here. It's at Lomeli Trade. So if you look up Lomeli Trades, it's this one with the green profile picture. And I was talking with chat the other day that I have a whole bunch of videos that I have archived. Let me see if I can show you guys a couple. Literally, I documented my whole fucking journey, and I'm not. It's funny because like when I got this opportunity, I was like, I should probably take these off. They're embarrassing. And so I saved them. But maybe we'll post them here. Or how do I manage oh shit. Manage videos. Some of them are fucking funny. View your channel. Manage videos. There we go. YouTube Creator Studio. Let me see an old trading video. Playlists. How can I play this video? Let me see.
How's it going, everyone? Christian Lomeli.
Maybe I gotta look into YouTube Studio. Create. Anyways, yeah, it's at Lomeli Trades Up. I was gonna pop up a couple videos of my earlier. This was like COVID time, literally me talking about trading, and it's kind of, at least for me, it's euphoric seeing me and going back and seeing those videos. But that profile picture's fire. Which one? My YouTube channel one? But yeah, it's very. Oh, someone asked, how do you? Yeah, I still got to do the create like a banner and a profile picture, but I kid you not, that video took me about a whole 2 hours to make. Although it was 15 minutes, I was like, I've never really, I guess I have, but forgot how time intensive that shit was. Yeah, who traded today? Kind of curious, who took any trades today? I know gold kind of took a little dump, right? Yeah, gold trended a little. Yeah, even then the volume was very low. Me, it went horrible. Yeah, I think today was a day to skip. Today was and I've been getting a lot better at that. Like, I understand that as it is, Fridays for me aren't the best. Now add a bank holiday where volume, price action would be a lot slower, and it's like a recipe for ruin. So what did I do? Literally slept in. I woke up at 9 a.m. So for me, California time, that's 9 a.m. And yeah, the plan wasn't to stream like I said, but I was like, fuck, I have FOMO not popping in for chat, so I gotta get it in. Took range trades, little scalps. Yeah, I think if you did do it, that's the way to do it. I know Jake managed to catch some longs and lock in secure payout, right? So yeah, it's not the best conditions today, or this week as a whole, right? This week as a whole wasn't the greatest, but I do think that opportunities were there, and I think, like I said, I caught the trade on Wednesday. Had I caught this trade on Wednesday, I think that it would have put me in a decently good spot, because this was a 3-4 hour trade or whatever. And yeah, had I just managed my trade on Thursday a little bit better, I think I would have been a very, very happy camper this week. Well, yeah, I still haven't reviewed for the week, which I'm gonna do probably either today or Sunday. Saturday I try to take completely off, but overall, yeah, not the greatest week for me, but it's also happy I'm greedy, right? So that's what matters. Asia session was the move. Yeah, Asia session had a nice sell-off, right? Nice little sell-off. Up until literally when Asing went on, right? And then Asing had a nice little London pump. And what was that big candle? 550. We had a big 5-minute bar. And yeah. I mean, looking at the price action this open, right? This is not, if you traded today and you told me you're red, look at this, right? And assuming you trade the first 90 minutes, I mean, I'd be like, yeah, sure, you're red, right? Although price, I mean, you can argue, right? Price rebalance, it's the 15-minute order block. Again, Chad, I haven't even looked at price for today. 4 hour inverted this gap here, the hourly, traded into this order block here, 15-minute, hourly, 4 hour. How's a 1 minute looking? So I guess there was, we never inverted that. We got a chain of state there. This is hindsight trading, chat. But that was decent. But yeah, even then, regardless, this looks like an Asia session, a slow Asia session type of action, right? And I don't love it. I don't like trading it. Yeah, but yeah, one thing I want to, I guess, improve for next week, and these are just kind of thoughts that I have that I would probably have when I'm reviewing, is I want to, I don't know how I love adding to winners, but I think that I need to press on my conviction. That's number one. Press on conviction and I guess that's the number one thing. Press on conviction. I was going to say not adding to winners just yet. I think if it's not, I just started doing that about 2 weeks ago. But yeah, I think that if it's not broken, don't fix it. That's kind of like what pops into my head. But also, if that trade would have played out, it would have put me up very, very, very nice on the week. So yeah, it's also like context too. Markets weren't really in adding to a position. It was more so giving it room to breathe. So yeah, a lot of thoughts coming into the review for the week, right? That I'm having, and yeah, we'll see. But wait, isn't the market? Yeah, the market's closed, brother. Just here vibing, reviewing trades, and talking over trades. Asia was the play. Gold and indices. Wish I would have traded. I was biased for that range, so it worked out. Hell yeah. Trades London session, one long after the PD news, long after pullback, and one of the short after sweeping. Oh man, what up? What's my man? You're working today? Yeah, sir. Not even then. I just genuinely felt, yeah. Whenever I'm like, who am I to miss this opportunity just to come in and say what's up, right? Can you explain your entry model system? Literally, that's what the video I made on YouTube was about. If you want to check it out, but I got you with a quick explanation here. Let's see. Let's try to pick a what day do I remember that would fall under a good example of literally my trade on Tuesday. If you rewind the video, my trade on Tuesday is literally what it is, right? I have an overall objective on the higher time frame, right? Overall objective on the higher time frame that aligns with the 4 hour, the daily, and the hourly. And I just zoom in intraday on the 15-minute, 30-minute, 5-minute. I try to align an entry in that aligns with the hourly 4 hour, where price shouldn't trade past, which if you rewind it, you'll see everything, which was that area. And then when it comes to the entry, I literally wait for a 1 minute, essentially market structure shift, right? So in this case, it was here. That was the change in state, right? Here, stop at the swing high inside an area of interest on the 15-minute that aligns with the hourly 4 hour, and we have a clear indication of where price is headed to, the 671. And if everything like that aligns, which again I broke it down clearly on the beginning of the video, that would be the I guess model, I guess you can call it, but it's literally just price action and having a good understanding. So all I do, chat, is this. If I were to create a list as to what I look for, I do so I start with let's see. Literally, first thing I start with is how's the weekly trading, weekly/daily trading. Where are we headed towards? Where are we coming from? Right? Then I also ask myself, what are we respecting / disrespecting? Right? And then I go on to then I kind of create a narrative. Create a narrative on these higher time frames. And then I go into the 4 hour / 1 hour and essentially do the same thing, right? Where are we headed / where are we going to? Or sorry, where are we coming from? Right? What's getting respected? What's getting disrespected? What's getting respected / disrespected? Right? And align with higher time frame narrative. This is huge. I should probably put this in caps. Right? Because sometimes what you'll notice is like the weekly is or matter of fact, I'll give you guys an example. What is it? Oh, black one. I'll look at it later. Sorry, chat. We're looking at cars, and she just sent me the I guess the car I was interested in. It just went down in price. So yeah, kind of like similar to this action here, right? The weekly is clearly uptrending, right? And I remember vividly this day because I took this trade and it played out. Okay, let me see. Yeah, so here we have the weekly is clearly uptrending, right? If I were to pop it up, the daily essentially is trading below. This is just an example of how I align both sessions. If we were bullish, we should have held this majority of this order block, but we didn't. We damn near closed below it. So in this case, the weekly is bullish, but where is the weekly heading towards? Where are we coming from? Where's the daily and weekly heading towards? Where are we coming from? We're heading towards a swing low, right? We're not heading towards a swing high, right? We're heading towards a swing low because of how price is, because the weekly has a gap fill that has to be rebalanced. And the 4 hour is essentially downtrending. We got to change its state, creating lower lows, lower highs, respecting bearish fair value gaps, respecting equilibrium of the range, right? It could be so fucking easy. You just have to be patient for these setups to come and align yourself in the right way. Where do we trade up to? OTE of the range, 0.62 to 0.79 of the fib, which is premium of the range. The 4 hour is downtrending, right? So now in this case, it's like I mentally go back to those same questions that I ask myself every single morning. And it's like, okay, how's the weekly daily trading, right? The weekly is bullish, but we have a fair value gap that we could trade down to, right? And why? How did I get that information? Looking at the daily. If the daily was bullish, we shouldn't have closed like this, right? So I'm instantly heading towards, okay, the weekly might want to get rebalanced. The 4 hour, looking at how the 4 hour is trading, right? We disrespected, we got a market structure shift. At this point, right? At this point, I'm like, okay, the clear objective for me is this swing low. So now the 4 hour is looking bearish. Now, would I short this now? No, we have a bearish for value gap, which I think I took a trade. It's been a while since this day. It was May. It's been about a month ago. Yeah, we have the 4 hours downtrending. How's the 1 hour? The 1 hour is also downtrending, right? So in this case, same thing, same exact fucking shit, right? We trade into, we have a bearish fair value gap here. So if we really want to take it day by day, this day was 10 a.m. 1 minute. So we tap into that area. In this case, we have a come on, Wi-Fi. I don't even know if it's the Wi-Fi or my stream here. So in this case, just wait for a 15-minute change of state, which we got here. We do display slower, right? That's enough for me. Traded back into the fair value gap, and we trade lower, right? Asia session opens, you reset. But yeah, like literally aligning everything at this point, the draw is clearly lower. We reject this this order block here. Let's see if we keep moving lower or not. Let me just fast forward it. 4 hour. So long we hold this trend, we're still bearish technically. So I'm kind of walking you guys through exactly like how I would look at it as the price is unfolding, knowing that the weekly and the daily, the overall objective is down here. This whole week, essentially, you could be bearish, right? But you have to wait for price to align. We traded up higher, right? And this day, I made a video explaining why people might have got trapped here, given there was a bearish invert. There was the 1 hour was essentially bullish. People were probably targeting these swing highs. I vividly, if you follow me on Instagram, I made a video on this exact day. People probably got stuck trying to long, and perhaps were red. I don't think it was the price's fault. I think it was essentially your fault. And I remember taking a short somewhere in this range. But yeah, it's let's see it play out. Same thing. Retrace back into what? Probably the last up candle before the down move, right? And boom, come back to trade lower. Respect this last up candle. Boom, we took out the draw. And what do we do now? We consolidate. We were in a weekly fair value gap. So in this case, I would ideally want the hourly to get a change in state. My trading view's lagging. So we got into that weekly fair value gap. We held this bullish 1 hour fair value gap. And yeah, we trade up to where we would more than likely have a draw into premium of the range. Swing high to swing low, right? Where is an obvious draw? Swing high in premium of the range, right? Oops. And we just let it play out. Boom, right? After price gets there, what would I anticipate price of doing? Either displacing above it or coming back into discount of the range somewhere, right? Doesn't have to, but it's something that I'd be open and aware. Yeah, so right here at this point, we're still delivering bullish on the 4 hour. So I wouldn't anticipate price necessarily coming back down to discount. But yeah, it's literally kind of, I guess the overall objective here was to paint a picture as to what it is that I look for on a, yeah, I remember now. Yeah, every 4 hour order block kept getting respected here. There we go. Yeah, the overall thing is like, if you have to align price with every single time frame. You can't just look at one time frame and shit, did I delete the man? Yeah, I deleted my overall notes I had. Let's see if we can get them back. Oh, there we go. So yeah, the 4 hour 1 hour is where I want to find narrative. So 3 15-minute / 5-minute / 1 minute pockets, right? Find pockets in the form of FVGs / order blocks / breakers / premium / discount / BPRs, right? What else? That's about it, really. And all it is fair value gaps, order blocks, breakers, which is literally just a, I mean, if you guys trade the way I do, it's literally just like when market changes trend, coming back to retest this old low. That's a breaker. Premium discount, right? It's just using the fib to see if price can come back to 50%, ideally 0.62 to 0.79. Breaker. And a BPR is just a bearish gap overlapped by a bullish gap, right? So let's see a breaker example here. So I guess this is an example here, random example. Right here, we have a bullish gap, right? Overlapping with a bearish gap. Or bearish gaps. Not the best example, but yeah, just to paint a picture. Every time we come back to it, it's like it serves as extra confluence because not only is it an invert fair value gap, but it's also a bearish fair value gap in premium of the range. We're at 0.79 to 0.62. Took out liquidity, or took out relative equal highs, and yeah, this was a random example. I just chose to select Wednesday at 7 a.m. in March, whatever. But yeah, it's kind of what I look for. And as far as again, same thing, finding and by how do I find exactly where are we coming from, where are we headed to? It's the same thing: fair value gaps, order blocks, breaker, premium, discount, BPRs, and some things to consider is like looking at candle closures and time left until candle closes, right? This is huge. And one thing I would focus on one session, right? One session. 2, time slot, maybe 9:30 to 11:30, right? Eastern. I would go as far as doing one instrument and 1 to 2 trades a day max. And there's this thing in poker that I just learned, which is a concept that for every hour you trade, you should be reviewing or trying to get better for the same amount of time, if not 2x, if not 3x the amount of time, right? So I learned that from a poker player that I met in Costa Rica, and it kind of stuck with me, right? He was a professional poker player, and he said that basically what I'm telling you, right, which is the study time behind trading is the hard work that a lot of people aren't willing to do, but I think it's what's going to be the moving needle, especially if you don't have a proven track record. So I would say on the weekends, so say you trade 2 hours Monday through Friday, right? That's 10 hours. I would say, I mean, 10 hours is a little harsh for weekends, but say you review for 30 minutes each day, right? That's two and a half hours for the week, right? I would say spending at least minimum 3 hours during the weekend and try to understand price. Maybe you're done reviewing in like an hour. Try to understand why price did what it did, right? Understand where you can get better entries using maybe if you wait for X, Y, and Z, right? So weekends, review, backtest, the week, specifically the week, right? Where could you have entered? Why did you hesitate? Why did you hesitate? What did you miss? right? How was price? Was it ranging, trending? Were you able to recognize that? How was your game plan compared to outcome? Were you aligned majority of days? If you weren't aligned majority of the days, like that's where you need to start, right? Having a good read. I would think that having a good read is way more important than having the right entry, right? Because it doesn't matter if you have a fucking amazing pocket. If you're wrong on direction, you're always gonna lose. So I would think that spending time there would be ideal. And you have to treat this as a business. You can't just expect to show up every day and get better as time goes by. Sure, that will happen. But I think that if you want to expedite this and you want to get there faster, I think you need to put in the work on the weekends and understand this is huge too. I'm just in flow, so I'm just yapping at this point. But understand that, but I do think that this is very beneficial. I do think that during the week, you should be more on autopilot, and I realize that it doesn't feel like work, because if you do one session, one time slot, one instrument, one or two days, 1 to 2 trades max, and only review 30 minutes, right? It should take you, right, 3 hours of your day max. But the weekends, right? The weekends is where you really dig deep and try to understand, try to refine your focus, right? Try to understand, again, where could you have entered? Where did you hesitate? What did you miss? How was price? Was it ranging? Was it trending? Were you able to recognize that in real time, right? How was your game plan compared to the outcome? Where were you aligned majority of days? So these are questions that you should be asking yourself when reviewing. Because when you review, you just look at your trade and was it green? Was it red? What was the R multiple? How could you have made the R multiple better? I would argue that that's how a lot of people review, and I think that's wrong. I think that you need to be a scientist to really dig deep, right? Look at not only numbers, but look at price. Literally what I did right here, which is rewind, go on replay, select a bar, go back to Monday, right? This is what I would do. I just go back to Monday, start Monday at market open, and just make the same game plan, right? Make the same game plan. Maybe your levels were up here, whatever. Maybe you were waiting for a pullback. This is just me. I don't even know, right? And go on the 1 minute here, right at market open, and just play it. Go through every time frames. And it shouldn't take you long, but it gives you a good understanding of what did you miss in real time? Because you'll collect that data in less than 30 minutes. Less than 30 minutes, you should have a very well-rounded outlook on what happened that day and what did you miss, right? Let me see, let me pop up chat. 2 trades today, 2 green journaling. I have to tell you, your stream is just perfect for journaling. It must be your voice. My dog. With all data, looks a bit bearish. I'm looking for 4 hours main. I made my profit yesterday on a key high before. Fuck yeah. No setup for me today, just watching your analysis trade. My guy, I appreciate you. Really appreciate you. You actually, I don't necessarily backtest. I don't backtest. But at the end of the week, what I do is go through literally this. I still do this to this day. And I think that this is what's going to get me to that next level. And I think that if you're stuck and it feels like you're in a hamster wheel, it's because you're missing this, which is really digging deep on your analysis, right? Of the week, and try to refine what you don't know. Because right now, what happens with a lot of traders is you're blinded to what you don't know, right? You don't know what you don't know. If you did know what you thought you knew, you would be making money. Simple as that. Put the ego aside. You don't know what you don't know. So what that really entails, what you really have to do is dig deep and try to drop the ego and really analyze price. Be like, okay, what am I missing? And sometimes you're not really missing anything and it all stems from execution. But you have to dig deep to really understand. Yeah, exactly. My trade volume is about 1 trade a day. Yeah, it seems like we've been holding a steady flow of viewers, which appreciate you guys a ton, as we're literally just reviewing the week. But yeah, let's run the giveaway here, chat, and we'll call it there. Although, let's see if chat wants a giveaway. Should we do a giveaway or should we wait till Monday? What do we think, chat? I feel like chat's a little sleepy today. You guys are either locked in taking notes or of course, giveaway. Let's see. My guy, Ramirez. Appreciate you, brother. Hope you have a good weekend as well. Detach, and let's do giveaway. No need for giveaway. Giveaway, there we go. Chat's waking up, man. Yeah, we were holding a steady concurrent viewership, which is nice. Seems like you guys are here to learn, and I appreciate you guys a ton. So for that, we will run a giveaway. Lotbot, giveaways. All right, giveaway is open for 5 minutes. So I'll probably leave it open for literally like 2 minutes. And you have a very high likelihood of winning today. There's only 70 people watching right now. So if you enter, you do have a very high likelihood of winning, chat. Usually during these streams, we have about 250 to 350 viewers. And that significantly diminishes the odds here. But yeah, go ahead and let's see. Let's play some vibey, man. Let's play some what's that one song? Go ahead, enter the giveaway, chat. We have another chat. There's a very high likelihood of winning today. I'm not even joking. There's currently only 22 entries. You literally have a 5% chance of winning, which I guess isn't the greatest, but still, it is way better than having there be 200 entries, right? If there's 200 entries, you have what? You're one of the 200. The one where you have 0.5%. 5% is way better than 0.5%. Watching local cable. I might end it soon, but yeah, I'll leave it open for 3 minutes. I'm gonna gonna go take a quick leak while this giveaway is running. I'll be right back. Your messages are flooding in, thinking that you're gonna win. I just let the rubber band snap, but I can't sleep through the night. Can't sleep through the night, still seeing your face in the glass. Why do you call when you're short on cash? Can't sleep through the night, I'm losing my mind tonight. Gold rings on my fingers, still your perfume lingers. Empty bottles and bigger banks, giving nobody any thanks. Not the money, not the fame, not the jewelry, but I can't sleep through the night. Can't sleep through the night, still seeing your face in the glass. Why do you call when you're short on cash? Can't sleep through the night, I'm losing my mind tonight. Bankrolls on the
Watching local cable, hating that I'm able, hating that I'm able.
Watching local cable. Okay, there's currently, let's see, 41 tickets. A minute left. 1 minute left, chat. Turn it up, man. Let's turn it up for this last minute.
But I can't sleep through the night. Can't sleep through the night. Still see your face in the glass. Why do you call when you're short on cash? Can't sleep through the night. I'm losing my mind tonight. Bankrolls on the table. Watching local.
All right, just wanted to make sure it's not too loud.
Hating that I'm
Sorry.
able. Hating that I'm able. Plastic smiles on Sunset Boulevard, living fast and playing every card.
What eval is it? It will be a, I believe, Tradeify 25K account.
Your messages are flooding in, thinking that you're gonna win.
Okay, I think this. Okay, 15 seconds left. There's 50 entries. You have a 2% chance of winning versus 0.5% or even lower. Yep. All right, ready, chat? Let's see. We ready?
Not the money, not the fame,
Not the glory.
but I can't
9K lose. 9K lose. Are you in here?
still seeing your face in the glass. Why do you call when you're short on cash? Can't sleep through
9K lose. Are you in here, chat?
mine tonight. Bankrolls on the table.
There we go, brother. Congrats, my guy. DM me on Lomeli Trades. I'll put the link here below. Have you ever won before? That's, I guess, the first question. Have you ever won before? Watching. First time, all right. Yeah, DM me on Instagram and I'll literally get you a code. Literally here on stream while we're vibing and chilling. Literally, shoot me a DM and I got you with the code. Literally right now. Literally right now.
I never take a day off, work around the clock, my engineer getting paid off, rock like Ace up, like the weed and take off, so high cannot see, 8 off, now I got these rappers all breaking up a sweat, cause every time I get up on the mic I come correct, and I learned it from the best, always dressing something fresh, looking for a little dime, big button, nice chest. Yes, they heard I used to rock guests, but now I'm rocking clothes that ain't in the stores yet. Travel back in time, I'm in a vortex, trying to make it work out. Think I need more rev.
Yeah, just DM me on Instagram, Luz, and I got you. No, that's it for me. I think that concludes today's session. I appreciate you guys. Those lightly under 100 people just currently it's 50, but appreciate you guys for watching, and that's it for me. That's literally it for me. Just send me the picture of your YouTube handle as well, that we can confirm it's you. Got you guys. Yeah, a lot of sauce in today's session, in my opinion. I think if you really take it in and really study it, I wholeheartedly believe that it'll make you a better trader. Just keep tuning in, keep watching these, and I promise you, if you take everything to heart, drop the ego, you will get better. Yeah, oh, there we go. I got your DM, brother. I got your DM. Literally getting you a code literally as we speak. Literally as we speak.
Sing? Okay. Let me see.
Meek, you're just getting out of prison. How does it feel to be part of the system?
Code works
Like a free slave, you know,
for
like
a
I've been
25K
just being out in the streets,
trade of 5.
freedom at any time. You got cops, you see they charging me F1 felonies.
The
They see me
count.
riding a bike. That kind of says it all. You get F1 felonies when you shoot somebody, when you stab somebody. I was charged with that for riding a bike, you know. My freedom online, unfortunately, I made mistakes when I was younger. And, you know, it's trailing me for the rest of my life. So if I'm going to be the example and got to stand up, somebody always got to take the L. And, you know, it's time to level up and stand up and be the person I be. Set example for the young brothers coming up at me. And that's it.
What are you gonna do now that you're free?
We are.
Up just to kill him soft. Started selling white, we won't sell it no more. Like Trump ain't feeling us. Cops still killing
Yeah,
us.
I just sent you the code. Lose.
Cut her off, act like she did, and it's killing her. New
There you
door,
go.
Hermes seats. I left the ceiling up.
Got you, my guy. Assume you're still watching.
Try to crucify me like I'm Jesus, the way she crossed me. Too bossy and too thorough to move like a weirdo, on point like an arrow. We started off with 0. Now I'm seeing M's. Diamonds like water and they jumping out the gym. Shooting like Harden if your head was the rim. Cause niggas wanna line me like a shape up in a trim down. Back when I was broke, they was cool with it. Now every move I make, I'm in the news with it. Even if I ain't do it, they be like,
Bro, get off
"You
this
did it."
shit.
My teacher always used to tell me, you gon' lose, nigga.
My dog, Raymond.
I never went to school, nigga.
Nah, just vibing, man. I had FOMO from not being on here, so I had to pop in at least for some sort of like I guess educational type content. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Quick question for those still watching and that actually watched the majority of the stream: did you guys find value from today's session, which is me literally just reviewing my trades, writing? Yeah, who you talking to, Ray? Who the fuck is Ray? That's love, bro. Appreciate you. My guy, appreciate you guys for watching, for sure. Dream Chase is catching all my goals. Like addicted to chat. Yeah, I was thinking if I miss today, I also missed FOMC Wednesday, so I can't do 2 misses in a row, or 2 misses in 1 week. Just felt wrong. I was literally walking out the house and I'm like, nah, I gotta stay. See.
Some suckers wanna be me and some suckers wanna leave me. I know it. I go through it, don't show it. I told niggas who.
Horse Farm Valley, but your voice, my dog.
I know way too many people here right now that I didn't know last year.
Who the fuck are y'all?
I swear it feels like the last few nights. We've been everywhere and back, but I just can't remember it all. What am I doing? What am I doing?
Let me see. Let me see if I can Split challenge.
All right, bottles on me, long as someone drink it, never drop the ball. Fucking y'all thinking, making sure the young money ship is never sinking. About to set it off in this bitch Jada Pinkett. I shouldn't have drove. Tell me how I'm getting home.
Look, you guys want to see something crazy? Let me see. I was making these videos when I first got into trading, which I have them privated on my YouTube channel, but
All right, how's it going?
I was talking about I was doing trading education videos back in 2020, May of 2020, which is crazy. It's absurd, right? I was about a year into my trading journey, or not even a year, probably like 8 months, 9 months into my trading journey.
Actual average, right?
And it's crazy, chat, that during that time, I remember I had a whole, I'm not even joking, every single month or every single day in 1 month early in 2020, I was green. And that's just because everything was trending. Gold was trending. I was trading gold at the time. I was trading, for those that know, it's JNUG and JDST. It's the correlating ETFs for GC, right? I was trading the correlating ETFs with a on Thinkorswim, and I thought I was like, I made it, I cracked the code. But literally would just buy if we were above VWAP or EMAs, and it was crazy. But
200 days.
that led me to believe I was
Consolidated, broke below the VWAP, right?
yeah, it's crazy. It's funny. It's kind of funny watching them back, honestly. Let me see if there's another video. There's a couple of videos where I talk about let's see. Video details. Day trading, developing a playbook.
Each candle is they get a good amount of people that got.
Yeah, I had no idea what I was talking about. Zero idea. Developing a playbook is wild. Then I also, let me see. This was kind of cool.
As you guys can tell,
I was door dashing. I recorded a video, Entrepreneur Starts from Scratch. I was door dashing, trying to make money to fund the account, to then blow the account. It's literally documented.
and it's that easy, folks. People start complaining.
Let me see.
2 DoorDash orders. Directions.
Yeah, this is nostalgic, chat.
Deliver the food. Let's go, baby.
Whenever you're ready.
All right, I'm picking up 2 DoorDash orders
Okay, what's the first one?
for Frankie and
Crazy.
I got in at 3 point. Very top.
Talking about how
No. I said buy low and sell high.
I was talking about buying Doge. I literally DoorDash for a whole month, or no, sorry, a whole week. I put everything in Doge because that was the hype back then, Dogecoin. I fucking blew it off. Crazy.
Hustle mentality, but yeah, these dudes over here next to
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, I'm doing a little too much yapping now. This playbook not valid anymore. What playbook? Thought I cracked the code on Robinhood when options were going. Bro, RJV, tell me about it, bro. Bro, when everything was going parabolic, I was fucking I thought trading was easy. That's genuinely what I thought. Because it felt like you would log into a casino. Literally. Crazy. I remember I bought a couple ZM Zoom calls before the before the announcement. Bro, I fucking printed. Not knowing what the fuck happened. I just woke up. I checked my app. I'm like, what the fuck? And then like at the time I had some was it a little bit after? Yeah, I guess a little bit after the whole AMC era thing. I told one of my roommates, because I used to live at a house with 2 other people. We just split the rent essentially, right? And I remember telling somebody about the whole AMC thing. They bought, I didn't. They woke up fucking banging on my door talking about, bro, what the fuck? But yeah, definitely had a rude awakening. Yeah, yeah. Well, that playbook video, nah, I don't think, because I mean, it's more so on. Yeah, I mean, granted, it was only 8 months into my trading journey, and I don't think no one's really uh, in the right space. 8 months into your trading journey, you should not be teaching. That's all I. So I think what I was talking about was I trade nothing like that. I don't. Even the playbook stuff that I use, I use nothing of it. So I don't think it's valid anymore. Maybe I'll make a new one. But now, 6 years into my trading journey, I do think that I have a lot to teach. I guess if you put it that way, right? Or a lot, you can learn a lot from what I'm saying. Same for me with Salesforce CRM, bro. Fuck yeah, those were the good old days, huh? With trading, good old days, man. But yeah, that's it. That been there too. Yeah. Kind of curious. I'm gonna end it off with your startup poll. Let's see. How many years have you been into? How many years are you into your trading journey? Less than 1 year? Less than 18 months? 2 to 4 years? 4+ I'm actually curious. I started a poll for those that are in here. How many years are you into your trading journey? Less than 18 months, 2 to 4 years, or 4+ years? Kind of curious. I would assume that most of you guys are maybe 2 to 4 years, but yeah, that's what about 5 years here. 5 years, fuck yeah. I think for me, I genuinely believe that that Instagram and like these social media platforms, they make it seem to where you don't got it figured out by year by year 1, by year 2, you're fucked up, right? But I think that for most people, I came to understand that. I mean, that was the case for me. I didn't really have anybody to kind of tell me what to do. I had to learn it the hard way. And trading is one of those things that you can't, in my opinion, you can't expedite. I think it's an what you call it, anomaly to get it under 3 years, 4 years. I think that I don't think most people get it under 4 years. I think that it takes time, and it takes screen time more than anything, right? To actually get to a level to where you, I guess, consider yourself profitable, right? So I think that yeah, bro. I was 6 months into trading, thinking that I was gonna be a millionaire by the 2 year mark, which is, in my opinion, very, very delusional. I think that maybe perhaps if you have the right guidance and you follow it with zero ego, right? Zero pride as to, no, I know my way. Because I think this is what I think. When you're a trader, you get into it because you don't want to get told what to do. You don't want a boss. You don't want nothing, which is the right idea. Maybe you come from an entrepreneurial background, but I think it's the same reasons that get you into trading that make it to where it takes so long that you either A, give up, or B, it takes you 5-6 years, right? So I think that having the expectation that it is going to take longer is the right approach for trading, because then it becomes less stressful, right? But I do think that if I were to go back, I would do things a lot differently. And if I were to do so, it would for sure take me under 2 years, right? But I think that for most of us starting, I think we have no proper guidance, and I think it's partially the ego thing. The ego, the same reason again, like I said, that got you into trading, the reason that it keeps you in this cycle. Unless you're the legendary Azing. Exactly. Yeah, there's anomalies, like I said, right? What traders say it took them 3 to 5 years to figure it out, they're not talking about technical analysis. Yes, exactly. I think for me, the hardest, what took me the longest was not so much, I was always blaming my lack of a professional approach. I would blame psychology for it, right? I would say, okay, I think I went in this cycle that I now see some people that I know personally are in that cycle where they think time is going to do the heavy lifting, which yes, it is true, but I do think that the screen time is still required to get to where you want faster, right? It's just a simple equation. The more inputs you put in, the right inputs you put in, the outputs would then follow, right? Then you get to a certain point where, okay, you developed a system that you know works. Now at that point, it's just refinement. So it comes in stages, right? You go from developing, refinement, and from there on forward, it's just getting better and kind of, I guess, being more off the pedal is what gets you to the next level, if that makes sense. Not being so trying to, because that you get to a point where doing more doesn't necessarily make you more money. It's actually, in fact, doing less that'll make you more money. Ego and expectations. Exactly. Like that, like they say with muscle cars, there's no replacement for a displacement. Never heard it, but yeah, I agree. I asked you, who the fuck is man, somehow, some way ended up doing a 2-hour stream, so fucking with no market open, so that's fire. That's very true, but I was in the wrong trading community with the trading strategies that work for them and not for me. It took my 3 years to realize it and how I stumbled on ICT and you. My guy, appreciate you tons. I think that you're in the right space. I also think that what my biggest mistake too was, how do I put this? Like trying to emulate traders. I think that for me, the biggest thing that moved the needle for me was sitting down on the weekends and trying to understand price with what I was learning from educators, right? From what I was learning from Jake. I was trying to sit down and really understand, put things together. What I was learning from like the ICT concepts, understand and try to figure it out myself. That's where I was like, okay, I need to drop the ego and understand that I need way more screen time. I need way more screen time. I need to understand price on my own, right? I can't show up every single day and feel like the market owes me something subconsciously, because that's what we're all doing, right? We're all showing up and trading, not even reviewing, not even doing a deep analysis over the weekend, right? These S&B Capital, the big proprietary firm located in New York, the guy, right? The Mike Bellafiore guy in his book, The One Good Trade, preaches repetition. If these people at a very, very high level are putting in 10, if not 15 times the amount of, literally, I'm not even joking, go read the book. They're putting in 15, 20 more reps than you are on a given day. And they're at a very, very high level. What makes you think you're going to get there in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? You need to be intense about this journey, right? This career that you're in. I'm not saying that it's more intense. In fact, I would argue that the more intense you are, the less stressful it is, because now you have this, you're backed by confidence, right? Once you develop confidence, trading in a way kind of feels like you're on cruise control. It gets boring, but now it's just a matter of, I'm not saying it's not going to be stressful, because it is still, but you hone into this like this level where it's just about refinement, like I keep saying, and you just try to get better day by day. But yeah, enough yapping for me. I appreciate you guys tons for sticking in here and yeah, just chatting it up with me. Appreciate you guys tons. But yeah, it seems like the poll just ended. I think you guys were you guys are still in between. Actually, shit, no, I'll take that back. 67, about close to 75% of people are 2 to 4 years, or 2 to 4 years plus in their trading journey. So that's, in my opinion, the very, very good sweet spot with when it comes to profitability. I think that you guys know enough, right? But not of course. You guys know enough, but aren't really, like, something's holding you back, right? And it's your job to understand that. And how do you understand it? Through the deep work, through the deep analysis. Here, we'll end it off with face in chat. But yeah, it's through that deep analysis that you'll really uncover, right? Peel back the layers and understand what is holding you back. Go into the weekend this weekend, really asking yourself, what's holding me back? Write it down. Write it the fuck down. I'm gonna end it off with this. I'm gonna use my whiteboard today, chat. Watch this. What is holding you back, chat? What is holding you back? Watch. Got a whiteboard. Shit, my neck's still hurt. Actually, we probably should use some music. All right, so we got. This is what I would do, chat. Watch this. Okay, so it's there. You are.
It's been so long since you texted me. I finally took a break and now I feel like I'm on it.
So what I would do is this, literally just draw that up, right? Profitable, where you are, profitable trading, right? How do I bridge the gap? I would literally write this down on a piece of paper, fill it out over the weekend. I promise you, you'll start thinking the right way. You're like, okay, where are you? Maybe you're blowing accounts. Maybe you're you keep doing the same mistake. Maybe whatever it is, right? And what does profitable trading look like to you? And maybe that's whatever. Maybe that's what we talked about right now, right? Which is what is it? One session, time slot, 9:30. Maybe that's what it is for you. Maybe just take what it is that I typed up on Focus, right? Whatever it is, right? You guys each have your experience that it seems like majority, 3/4 of you guys have enough knowledge to understand what trading is and what's required. Now it's up to you to kind of figure out, how do I bridge the gap between where you are, profitable trading, right? Man, I figured I'd fit my whiteboard for once in here. But yeah, that's exactly what I would do this weekend, right? Figure out, how can you bridge the gap? How can you bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be, right? And I'll leave you guys with that over the weekend. Think about it, really do the deep work, and I promise you things get better. Thanks for okay, you said still, I'm learning and still having a lot to learn, but my trading have dramatically improved after the shift. A lot of bad habits come from my previous community. Thanks for keeping me on the right track. My dog, appreciate you tons for being in here. And like I said, it's just a matter of time for each and every one of you guys. I promise, if you put in the work, time will eventually do the heavy lifting, but you have to put in the work. You can't expect to be to have 20, 30, 40, $100,000 months in trading and expect time to do the heavy lifting if you haven't done the heavy lifting yourself, right? Which is putting in the work and the screen time. So yeah, that's what I'll leave it on here. And again, appreciate you guys tons for tuning in. Before I head out. Make sure you like, subscribe, and see you guys on Monday. We'll continue the cycle again with wrong, right? With wrong on Sunday. Most know exactly why they don't grow. Just got to be sincere with themselves. Also me. Thank you. Happy weekend. Lou, yeah, you got it right on the dot. Can't agree with you more. I had a really hard time trading the last 2 months. Thank you for sharing this. Yeah, I think with any sort of, whether you're doing good or bad, I think there's always room for improvement. If you, first off, if you haven't made money, right? If you're still struggling, again, like I keep saying, and I think I had somebody tell me this, which is drop the ego. And I'm like, I don't have an ego, right? Drop the ego. You're not making money for a reason, right? Why is that? And since I kind of became more open-minded, I started taking things in from a very, very open lens. And I appreciate this person tons for telling me this, because it had a very pivotal impact on me. But yeah, that's it for me, chat. See you guys on Monday. All done here. Happy, it was a very interesting stream this Friday, but hopefully you guys liked it. See you guys later.